It's Tuesday night, Forza Motorsport Spec Racing here live on Twitch TV. Let's get it going. AMS Storm now here on lap number 34 of 34, jumps into the top spot. And here comes Maverick now, going to make a run to the inside. Drex perhaps missing his mark. Hello everyone and welcome to X-Venture here live on Twitch TV. It is time for the Forza Spec Racing Series, season number 38, week number 2. And oh my, I tell you, there's nothing like a little dance-off with your 4-year-old daughter to really get you excited and get you energized and ready to go for a broadcast. And that's exactly what happened. We were dancing, and then the next thing I knew, it was like time to get everything going. And boy, do I have some energy here for you today. By the way, speaking of energy, before we get into the season standings, although you all can look at them on the screen and just completely ignore me, but let me go ahead and acknowledge Delta Live, Track Sabian, FRTC, I think they're called, and then Bucktide. Those guys doing a fantastic job this past weekend with a 24 hours of Daytona put on by the Online Racing Association, Tora. Man, what a magnificent job they all did. And as somebody who did that broadcast last year, all 24 hours of it, I know how difficult it is to keep not only your viewers, the people who are invested in spending the time watching the broadcast, but then also as the broadcaster keeping yourself interested, because yes, it's great racing all across the field, but for 24 straight hours it can wear on you a little bit. And so to keep the energy up, to keep the viewers apprised of what's going on, not only in that particular stint, but then the other hours that have happened previously, job well done. Well done, and congratulations to the Tora team for yet another successful event and the start. What is the start of their 2021 endurance competition calendar? They've got a lot more of those to come. So if you need any more information on what's going on there in Tora, head on over to racetora.com and get all the details there. Get yourself signed up. Maybe find yourself a team. Get involved. Oh, so much fun. A lot of fun. And with that, let me just make one statement clear, too. With all the participation there in Tora, not only out at Daytona, but in all the other single make model series that they have, or sometimes they have, these series that have about 3 or 4 cars that you could pick from, and then all of that racing that they also had back in 2020. They're still ticking, and that's the Forza community for you. It's still going. So anybody who's saying that the Forza Motorsport 7 community is dead, they're just looking in the wrong places. Just because the game's been out for a long time doesn't mean the community's dead. And we've got another great one for you here tonight, season 38, week number 2, Forza Spec Racing Series. This community-run series has been going on longer than most. It's probably the longest running, if not maybe the top 5 longest running in the Forza community. And Slow Motion Fire, Modern Weapon, Fear the Fun, and a lot of the other folks who are longtime members or participants / volunteer organizers of this league, doing a remarkable job getting season 38 stood up here in 2021, featuring, as you see there on the right-hand side of your screen, the Ferrari Challenge Stradale, the 360. And what a great week 1 we had. Yes, things got off to a little bit of a shaky start here for the broadcast, and I'm still having these issues with getting into the lobby. So bear with me as I'm trying to talk and at the same time navigate my way around the Xbox PC interface here to try to get myself in the right spot. These guys and gals of the Forza Spec Racing Series, kudos to them to keep things going and to make it the accommodating, welcoming, inviting, I don't know, what other synonyms can I throw out there to all say the same thing, the wonderful league that it is. Well done, and I can't wait to see what racing fun we've got in store for us tonight, but then also the 3 weeks after this. Let's see here. Slow Motion Fire, I don't know if you can hear me, but if you're able to hook me up with an invite, Fear the Fun was able to send one, and that worked out just fine. I'm going to try to figure out what's going on with my end where it's preventing me for whatever reason. I don't know why. I used to just join off of gamer tags and get into the lobby. That's not happening anymore, and so I'm standing by for an invite to try to get in. So let me go ahead and fire over a message here to Slow Motion Fire, and that way we can ensure that we get all of the action from tonight's broadcast captured, or at least all of the action in tonight's racing, both the qualifying sessions and the event itself. Let's see here. Let me try Fear as well. There we go. All right. So while they work on the invites, let me go ahead and work on the standings. Oh, there's Track Sabian. Am I saying it correctly? Is it Sabian or is it Saban? Let me know if I'm saying it wrong, and I will do my best to correct that. I don't mean to mispronounce names. It's just a habit of mine, an inadvertent habit. Saban. It's the B-E-A-N part that I don't know if it's Bon like Sean or if it's Bien. That's what's got me tripped up. Sent another. Okay, so the invites are coming through. Hold on. Actually, before I run through the standings, because you all can see them on the screen. You don't need me to read them off to you. You all are smart like that. Let me try to get these invites sorted out here. I really don't understand why this has become a thing. There was an Xbox. What do they call it? I don't even know what this thing is called. It's like the equivalent of the Xbox dashboard, but for PC. And for some reason now, my ability to just join a game off of somebody's gamer tag has completely disappeared. It is gone. It's out in the ether. Hopefully, it'll come back. You're not helping me out on this one. I'm just gonna go with say bean. Sabine? Sabine like green bean, but say in front of it? I need like the phonetic breakdown of that one. Oh my. All right. I've got the invite, so well, and now I've restarted. The Xbox PC UI is asking me for a star rating. Let's not try that right now. Modern Weapon. Okay, let me try the one with from Modern Weapon. I don't have yours, Slow Motion Fire, but I have one from Modern Weapon. Perfect. That works. Awesome. Very good. My, oh my, I really don't understand what happened between season 37, where everything worked beautifully, to where we are now, where we got to jump through hoops to make this thing work. Yes, he says, Sabine. Got it. Well done this past weekend. Well done. All right, season 38 official standings coming out of week 1. Now, this is all completely contingent on where drivers have their worst week out of 5. So we are entering week number 2 of 5 weeks of racing. They take your lowest week in terms of total points, drop that week from you, so they take your top 4, and that's what counts toward your championship points total. What's probably more remarkable than explaining the point system, because it's very similar to what you'll come across in a lot of Forza leagues, what's most remarkable is Arzian McQueen, who won season 37, by the way, and did so with his performance in the last 4 weeks. Well, I should even say the last 3 weeks of season 37 is really where he turned it up a notch and came away as the champion. Picked up his 7th straight win, and that dates back to November 24th. That's 7 victories here in the Forza Spec Racing Series, and that's not easy to do. That's not easy to do, mind you. I get it. It's a beer league. And yes, there has been this tendency for folks to come in here, dominate, and then maybe they kind of see themselves out the door saying, okay, I've had my fun. I'm ready for somebody else to kind of carry the torch here. RZA McQueen, I would argue, is not at that stage yet. Still trying to pick up what would be a second championship, a back-to-back championship here in season 38, but off to a great start. Dual victories there in week number 1. And that results in a cool 100 points. It's going to be the the SGR crew of Floofy, Corvid, and then you even see there a little bit further down in P11, SGR Chaos Fox are going to try to change things up here a little bit and see if they can't give McQueen a not a loss per se, because even if McQueen finishes in second, third, fourth, heck, even fifth, still pretty decent in terms of points value, but they're going to see if they can't put an end at least to this hot streak that he's on with the 7 straight victories. Sabine or Sawbean, flying turd, you and me both, man. You and me both. I don't know. Good stuff. All right, so there is a look at the standings. You've seen that long enough. Let's take a look at the schedule. What's ahead for us here in not only week number 2, but then the 3 weeks after this. It is Indianapolis night here tonight, and this is a first, really, in the Forza Spec Racing Series, to my knowledge. I don't think they've ever had a week where it's just been one single destination, one track location for both races. It'll be the Grand Prix Classic Circuit for 20 laps, and then 32 laps around the Brickyard Oval. Good stuff. It's gonna challenge the drivers. For those who maybe pride themselves on their tuning ability, well, here's a great opportunity to show it. You go from a Grand Prix circuit to the Brickyard Oval, which means, at least in my opinion, you got to have 2 different setups, right? You gotta. I don't know. What do I know? Either way, we're going to see who comes out victorious here in week number 2 with these 2 races. Then it's Laguna Seca, followed by Long Beach, the West Route next week for 70 laps. And that one's a special event there at Long Beach. Because there is no pit lane there on the West Route, they will turn off the collision damage. It will be tire degradation and fuel depletion. However, fuel is not going to be an issue for 70 laps around that very, very short track. And tire degradation, well, as we saw here in week 1, really has no factor. It doesn't play into the race. They're just not that long. They're not long enough. Week number 4 heads out to Japan for a Suzuka Full, and then out over to Germany for the Nürburgring Nordschleife for 4 laps. That'll be an interesting one. Anytime you throw the Nordschleife into the mix, that's a little bit of an eyebrow raiser. And then week number 5, it's out at Virginia International Raceway Full. And let me throw it out there for those of you who are watching, and don't worry, we're not missing qualifying yet. They're getting the lobby stood up, and I suspect we'll get it going here pretty soon. If you are a subscriber to the channel, or if you wish to become a subscriber to the channel, let me take care of the first one. If you're a subscriber right now, then head on over, make no delay, head on over to, Sub Takeover is the command. The link that Nightbot just dropped in there, it's a Google Forms link, and it's going to have for you a list of questions about naming a corner. If you want to have a corner named after whatever, as long as you keep it family friendly, that's the only thing I ask. Oh my, that's really loud. As long as you keep it family friendly, then you can name the corner whatever you want. But you've got to head on over there between now and January 2nd. Fill out that form. Give me your best corner name, and I will call it out. I'll have a track map before the finale where I show all of the subs who have named a corner on the map. And you can make it funny. You can make it serious. Again, as long as it's family friendly, because that's the orientation of the broadcast, trying to keep things nice and acceptable for all viewers of all ages, then yeah, make it happen. And because you're a subscriber to the channel, it's the least I can do to try to give you another way to yet again be involved or engaged with the action here. Let's go ahead and throw quickly a Twitch prediction poll. I totally forgot to do it. Does McQueen make pole? And your answers are quite simply yes or no. I'm going to give you 4 minutes? No, I can't do 4 minutes. I can only do 2 minutes. Does McQueen make pole? Go. Use your Twitch channel points, or pit points as I call them here at Xventure, to make your best guess. And those of you who guess correctly, well, you get to claim all the other channel points from the other viewers. Why are channel points so darn important on this broadcast? Well, here's why. From time to time, I like to provide giveaways. Because of the subscribers to Xventure, it allows me from time to time to do giveaways. And typically those are in the fashion of gift cards to your choice of Xbox, PlayStation, or the Steam game stores. And so the more channel points you have, the next giveaway, the next raffle that I have, well, that's how you enter into those giveaways. You use your channel points. So take the opportunity right now, cast your vote in this poll, see if you can't claim a few more channel points in the process, and then that'll set you up nicely for our next raffle, whenever that may be. By the way, let me go ahead and run the alert there at the bottom for Track Sabine. Thank you for the host. And for anybody who might be watching from Sabine's channel, welcome. Great to have you. RZ McQueen across the line with a 1:32.271. That'll be the best time right now, and it looks like McQueen has the top time down the infield straightaway, or the top speed down the infield straightaway at 1:75. Let's go to Modern Weapon now, who crosses the line. And we are in the qualifying session, which means that the vehicles are impervious to one another. They're in ghosted mode. And so as Modern Weapon creeps up here on, looks like Savage, is that Savage Derp up there? No, Savage Reaper, who might have been Savage Dirt before, but now is Savage Reaper? I don't know. That might be a bad assumption. But as you can see there, Savage goes ghosted for Modern Weapon to allow him to proceed on the line that he wishes, to try to get the best lap time that he possibly can. And yes, we are on the Grand Prix Classic circuit, which means that you have that little jut out there, which I think is great. I don't know why the track managers of Indianapolis decided that, hey, they were going to get rid of that corner at that early stage of the track. I don't understand it. I think it's such a nice complex area, and yet they've just basically flattened it all out on that part of the track. Not entirely sure. Now, RZ McQueen down to a 1:28.183 on his second lap, the first flying lap, and now will commence lap number 3, the second and final lap, the second flying lap, the final qualifying lap here in this session at the Grand Prix Classic circuit before we go racing again for 20 laps. 20 laps. Audrex now across the line. What's up there, Chaos Fox, who's saying time to go? It is time to go. Absolutely, Chaos Fox. Another channel. In addition to all those who did the Daytona 24 for Tora, who I previously mentioned in the intro, check out Slow Motion Fire. If you're, Chaos Fox, SGR Chaos Fox here on Twitch. If you are into racing content, and not even just racing content. I mean, Chaos Fox does kind of a variety of things, mostly around racing, but from time to time jumps to other game types. There goes Audrex now across the infield section underneath the bridge, lines it up for the left-hander as he goes through Slow Motion Fire's car at 360 Challenge Stradale. We'll talk about the vehicles, or at least I'll throw up on the screen the vehicle setups coming into season number 38. All the vehicles have the exact same upgrades. That's why it's called a spec series. It wouldn't be called a spec series if they were all running different upgrades. Where the cars differentiate, well, mostly in the driver. That's key number one. The driver sets a lot of things apart, but then also you can tune those components which are tunable here in Forza Motorsport 7. If they've upgraded a part that you can tune it. There are no restrictions on tuning. They do have a few assists requirements, but then beyond that, it's pretty accommodating for your driving style. So whatever makes you most confident, most comfortable out there on the track, join the Forza Spec Racing Series. They'll love to have you and get this lobby filled up again, just as we saw back there in week number 1. Reddit.com/r/FM4. That is the place to go. All right, we're jumping out of the lobby. We'll go ahead and take a look at those race results. SGR Floofy with a 128.792. My apologies as I clap into the microphone. Cuda93 with a 130.200. Craytream with a 129.112. Fox Jason D with a 132. Barf Monkey, love saying that name, 136.72. Joe Beardy with a 130.016. McQueen with that pole setting 128.183. A 135.25 there for Fear the Fun. A 133 for Slim Jim. Chaos Fox tripping across the line with a 139.88, just below the 131 mark. LS Barney, I forgot on purpose to say the EM part. LS Barney with a 129.662, getting a sub 130, just not able to eclipse the time of McQueen there with a 128, who has a 128. Grimm with a 132.9, a 131 there for Raccoon. Jacob T, BOED with a 137.24. Audrex also able to get a sub 130 time with a 129.296. Slow Motion Fire with a 131. Same goes for Modern Weapon, and a 133 for Savage Reaper. No dirtied laps. How about that? How about that? All right. For the very few of you who said that McQueen would finish out on pole, there you go. You get your points back. You get your channel points back. And now they're going to go ahead and set everything up there in the lobby for the race. 20 laps, as I mentioned. Let's go ahead and take a look here at the vehicle setup while I wait to see if anybody's going to join us here in our driver's spotlight. I would love for a driver or two to step into the driver's spotlight. You know where to go, to that Q for interview section of the FM4 Discord. Head on over there. Let's have a chat. 18 drivers in the lobby. We did have a full lobby back there in week number 1. Maybe we can get a few more folks here before the racing gets underway, or maybe as we get into the second race of the evening. A700 is the performance index. As I mentioned back there in week number 1, that's a little bit higher than midpoint of the Forza Spec, or excuse me, the Forza Motorsport 7 performance index spectrum. You're starting to get up into the genuine racing class, which would be there in S class. 438 horsepower, 294 foot-pounds of torque, 2,864 pounds of curb weight. You see all the different upgrades there, and that's what I was talking about when I said all the vehicles have the exact same setup. It's in the tuning where you can make things a little bit your own as you wish. SGR Chaos Fox there in the pit lane. The Twitch chat, as we call it, says Indy Oval is going to be a literal pain. Chaos Fox says that it's going to be a literal pain there at the Oval, Slow Motion Fire. Do you know what he's talking about?
I kind of missed the first part of that.
A literal pain is what Chaos Fox is calling the Indy Oval. What is there about the Indy Oval, either with this vehicle or maybe with this series that Chaos Fox may not like? And I'm sure I'll ask him, but maybe you know.
If he's using literal pain, I'm guessing he's referring to just death grip on the controller.
Yes. Yeah. Hey, tell me a little bit about that. I saw some folks in the Discord who were saying, hey, yeah, I plan to switch on over to a wheel when it comes to the oval section. So as I was talking about how the series is accommodating with a few of the assists, some of them are required that you have to have assist-wise. But when it comes to deciding, hey, I'm going to do pad for like these GP circuits and all that, but then I'm going to switch over to a wheel for the ovals, perfectly acceptable, huh?
Oh yeah, and that's all those wheel drivers are going to switch over, so they're just looking to be smooth today. Tire wear isn't going to come into play, so they're just trying to minimize run and wide. On turn 4 is going to be the one you're going to see getting people today, running wide at turn 4. So they're switching to the wheel for smoothness.
Talking with Slow Motion Fire here in the driver's spotlight as we get ready for race number 1 tonight, which is out at the Indianapolis Grand Prix. So not yet on the oval, what Slow is talking about. We'll see that a little bit later on here in the evening. Slow, how has everybody taken to the car so far? This was RZ and McQueen's pick after winning the championship there in season 37. And maybe more importantly, more important than how everybody else is dealing with the car, how are you liking the car?
Well, I think everybody's pretty happy with the car. The only debate that I've really heard come up is some people would have liked it without aero, and some people are enjoying the aero. So there's a bit of a split there. But I'm having fun with the car, and the more I practice with it, I'm finding some speed. So I just need some seat time.
A little seat time to maybe get a little bit more familiarity. Of course, as the season progresses, folks will get that much more familiar with the car and its nuances and how to maybe get a little bit more out of the vehicle. Tell me about tonight's racing action as we go out to Indy, not only for the Grand Prix, but then the Brickyard. Has this ever happened before in the Forza Spec Racing Series where you've stayed at one location for both races?
Not that I can remember, which is why we thought it'd be kind of fun to do tonight.
Anybody completely disgusted by that decision?
I mean, all the people that just don't like the oval, period.
Very good. And talking about your own personal performance coming out of week one, you had 32 points. That puts you just slightly behind Chaos Fox. A great sizable grouping, as we normally see it about mid-pack, but it seems like especially competitive. Not only was there a lot of cars in one general vicinity at one time, but there was a lot of changing of position. Do we expect to see that here through tonight?
Yeah, I believe so. I think the oval race is going to be quite a bit of fun. I did quite a few practice laps running with other people, and it's definitely going to be a race to see who can do it without a single mistake. That's going to be
okay.
You don't have to pit for tires. You don't have to pit for fuel. It's going to be a race that can.
Well, lost out that last part. It's going to be a race against something, but hey, Slow Motion Fire, I'll let you get back.
For consistency.
There we go. A race for consistency. And that's key. That's key. It always is. And so we'll see who's going to be the most consistent here in week number 2. Slow Motion Fire, always great chatting with you. Best of luck here in the race.
Well, thank you, Dustin.
All right. Speaking of consistency, I'm going to go ahead and throw the predictor poll into the chat there. Use your points to vote accordingly. Will McQueen make it his 8th straight victory here with the Indianapolis Grand Prix circuit? Odds may be in his favor, but who knows? Maybe you want to vote against those odds. Sabian says no. So there's at least one person that you can win channel points off of if you go the yes direction. Enraged Barney will go ahead and play that way. And Enraged Barney, doing a little ante up there. It looks like 2,000 channel points. Again, try to use these predictors as a way to rack up your channel points, because the more you have, whenever those raffles come around, it's an opportunity for you to put your name in the hat more than one time, and a better chance for you to win those raffles, whether it be gift cards or giving away a game or anything else. You'll want to have the most chances possible to win. All right, here we go. Looking at the grid as we get ready for the first race of the evening. Got our camera fixated here on Floofy. You can't see him, but McQueen there off on the right-hand side will instigate the race, and there we go. Kick the tires. Light the fires, ladies and gentlemen. Week number 2 of the Forza Spec Racing Series in the 360 Challenge Stradale is underway. Into turn number 1 they go, off the oval into the infield. Who's going to keep it clean? Who's going to make it dirty? Hopefully the former rather than latter all the way back. And without the Forza race regulations turned on, we see... or actually with the Forza race regulations turned on, we see all those tire barriers removed. So it's especially important that everybody stays mindful of track limitations. Obviously, if you're trying to navigate around a dangerous situation, it's okay to divert yourself off the track there, but keeping it within the white lines is the name of the game. RZ McQueen, our pole sitter, remains out there in the top spot with SGR Floofy, who's going to try to give him a run for his money here, and he slides it out a little bit, coming on to the infield straightaway. Yes, we are running the classic circuit, and underneath the bridge they go. Floofy is 2. It looks like Cratrin back there in 3rd position. Then it's going to be Audrex, Joe Beardy in 5th, Barney in 6th, 7th is Kuda, 8th is Chaos Fox, then Jacob T, BOED in 9th position, and AP1 Raccoon there in 10th. Let's go ahead and ride on board here with Floofy. And apologies there as the replay camera seems to be of the wrong variety. I'll try to get that fixed up next time through. And around and out of what would be turn number 1 here on the oval, Kraytrim is going to stay single file right there behind Floofy. Audrex back there, and he's going to stay in the slipstream as well. So nobody trying to take the low line here on the front straightaway for the beginning of lap number 2. There we go. That's what we're looking for. Bring the camera back out. We saw a little bit of a black screen there, and I'm going to check the ticker to see if we lost anybody. Hopefully we did not. Yes, we did. Barf Monkey, our 18th driver out there on the grid for the start of this one, is out either through a voluntary disconnect or a incidental disconnect. And Audrex now right on the heels of Kraytrim as they go across the line, beginning of lap number 3 of 20 out here for the Grand Prix Classic Circuit. It looks like was Audrex a little bit wide there. Well, no, it's Kraytrim who's going to drop back a spot now to 4th. Audrex moves up to 3rd. And let's see, Arzian McQueen is within reach here of Floofy. McQueen hasn't taken off yet. However, we are very early in this race, so he might just be warming up to it. But Floofy, we talked with the SGR crew at the end of week number 1's broadcast, and they definitely wanted to take a look at the tunes, see what more they could do to the car to try to eke out every possible advantage that they could get to try and take down and end this winning streak that Arzian McQueen has been on since November 24th. Holy smokes. Let's see. Flying Turd says, is the lobby not full? I was placed on the reserve list, but I didn't hear anything for tonight's race. It is open there, Flying Turd, so perhaps after this race here, you can jump in and participate in the oval. And as I was saying about McQueen not yet getting out of reach of Floofy, he is starting that charge. It looks like about a full second, if not a second and a half, worth of separation between Floofy and first place. And here we go, beginning of lap number 4. Let's jump back now. Let's go to 6th position. It's Joe Beardy, who is behind LS Barney as they cross the line now and head into turn number 1. The front end of the 360 hunkering down. You see that front splitter, that Forza arrow that was added. No, there goes Joe Beardy up into the grass. He's going to go ahead and take care of the landscaping a little bit here for the Indianapolis grounds crew. Yeah, I don't know. I don't get it. I don't understand why this portion right here that we see Joe Beardy driving through has been removed as part of the Grand Prix circuit. I think it's a great. It's the corner with the most camber apart from those that are a part of the oval. And I think it gives you a nice little setup into the straightaway. If not, it kind of chucks you out, and you got to recover, as we saw Joe Beardy running off well beyond the white line and trying to get it back onto the main asphalt there of the straightaway. Let's go to 4th position here with Kraytrim, who lost P3 to Audrex and now finds himself about a 2.5 car length back off of the red-painted 360 livery of Audrex. Again, atypical here for Audrex. We've seen him in Wu-Tang Clan colors, black and gold, and we've seen him in AMD Ryzen garb, but not this red, whatever it is. It looks kind of plain Jane as Kraytrim now comes across the line, and already here we are, lap number 5. Rolling on back through the crew, it's going to be Joe Beardy in 6th. 7th is Chaos Fox. Well done here by Chaos Fox so far, if you can hold on to it. Jacob TBOED in 8th. Kuda is in 9th. Slow Motion Fire is in 10th. And it's Modern Weapon, Fear the Fun, AP1 Raccoon, Fox Jason D, Grim. And it looks like we've got Slim Jim into pit lane. Savage Reaper in 17th. And then it was Barf Monkey, who is the 18th driver of this race. Unfortunately disconnected very early on. Let's go to Jacob T. Keep it out of the lawn, Joe Beardy. Keep it out of the lawn, says Soulless. Soulless 710, welcome to the channel. Great to have you here. And I am Dustin Moore, broadcasting to you from my home office here in South Central Texas. A little cloudy, a little warm, a little rainy. Just kind of one of those gloomy winter days here in the South, and it seems like it's going to be that way all throughout the week. Fortunately, no more weather to contend with here in season number 38. They took care of that back in week number 1. And so there will be no more precipitation, nor will there be another night race. It was the combination of the two there in week number 1. Evening time and weather. As now Jacob crossing the line. Let's move back up to that battle for 3rd. Cratrium is trying to redeem his position. You see him in the Aperture livery, and the theme here for season 38, fictitious businesses. Whether it be in cinema or in gaming, the call to drivers was to get a livery that represented a fictitious business of some sort. And so Cratrium going with the nod to Portal. Chaos Fox, by the way, earlier saying, I love the Indy GP, but these cars are not good on the Indy Oval. And so maybe we're seeing a nice and composed race right now here at the GP Classic. But if what Chaos Fox is telling us is anything to go by, our oval race may be a little bit more interesting. We'll put it that way. McQueen is doing things that McQueen does. He has established a commanding lead at this point. Now, I never want to speak too soon, because even the best of drivers can have a lapse of concentration. Very rare, but it can happen. And so you never know when there might be that lapse that jeopardizes the race for any one driver out there, to include the race leader. So he's up there now, but I'll continue to watch that blip on the radar, our track map there in the lower left. Let's go to Kuda 93 in 9th position, closing in on 8th. That's going to be Chaos Fox and Jacob TBOED, who are having quite the fight here as they go into that classic section of the track. And here comes Kuda. Kuda on the outside. Chaos Fox trying to stay in 8th. He was at risk of giving it up, and now gets in there between Kuda and Jacob for 8th, at least for now. And as they come out onto the straightaway, we're going to see that's going to be Kuda sliding it out once again. It seems like the cars have a tendency to do that. Maybe a little bit of a misjudge out of that right-hander. Either way, they give you enough runoff space to make a correction. And there goes Kuda into the back of Chaos Fox. A little bit of sparks there indicating the contact. Let's ride on board with Kuda. Kuda 93, he gets a little help there getting through the first left-hander out here at the GP circuit. Kind of slides through it, able to maintain the car's composure, and just like that, he moves up to 8th position. Chaos Fox again dropping back to 9th, but he won't give up. He's not waving the white flag. He's going to stick with it and challenge Kuda the entire way. They go side by side here. Out onto the straightaway, and it's going to be a drag race. Down the stretch they come. Kuda, Chaos Fox, rocker panel to rocker panel. Here they go. It's going to be, looks like Kuda may be the first on the brakes, and with that, Chaos Fox actually having to do what looked like maybe a little bit of emergency braking, and not necessarily pulling the emergency brake, but having to put the foot down on the brake pedal a little bit heavier there to avoid contact with Kuda. And as such, they maintain position, 8th and 9th, Kuda, Chaos Fox, respectively. And the more these two battle it out, the more they're giving Jacob TBOED a little bit of a break here in 7th as he starts to depart. You get into those battles, you have that tendency to slow yourself up. Born as Ghost with the 7 months of Tier 1 subscription. Thank you so much, Born as Ghost, as always. And make sure you head on over to the link that Nightbot is going to provide you there and name one of the corners at Virginia International Raceway. The finale coming up on February the 9th. And so if you're a subscriber anywhere between now and February the 2nd, complete that form and name a corner. For those who go above and beyond, yes, there are ways to name the pit lane. There's even a way to rename the track in its entirety if you're so crazy enough to do so. All that information available there via the link. And now here down the infield they go. A great battle for 7th, 8th, and 9th. Jacob T has given up some ground here to Kuda. He's closed in a little bit. Through the S's. Quite possibly one of the more demanding sections here of the Indy GP. And across the line is McQueen for lap number 10. Halfway, well, a little bit less than halfway through this one. Audrex still in 3rd. Krejcim hanging back there in 4th, maybe looking for the right opportunity to strike, but he doesn't want to wait for too long if he wants to have an opportunity to vie for 2nd position, which is currently occupied by SGR Floofy. Oh, and more contact as they come through turn number 2. It's Kuda and Chaos Fox. That competition there, it's really fierce. And Chaos Fox lets up a little bit, I think, just to kind of give both of them a bit of breathing room. It's great to contact. Rubbing is racing, right? We all know the slogan there from Days of Thunder, but at a point you've got to kind of concede and say, okay, you got it. We'll let this battle play out in another corner. No need to really get crazy with it here. And so Chaos Fox, as a result, dropping back a little bit further, but I do expect to see him back up there in the thick of it. Not for long. Let's go to Krejcim, who's there in 4th, and let's see if he's going to take a stab here at Audrex in 3rd. And my apologies there for the audio if it was really loud in the game sound. I forgot to bring it back there after turning it up when we were on the onboard camera. Krejcim across the line. It is the beginning of lap 11. You got this battle for 3rd, back behind a bit of a ways by about a corner and a half is how far back you'll find then in 5th, LS Barney and Joe Beardy. Let's go to Joe Beardy once again in 6th. VirtueCon. You guys help me out with that one. What's that a reference to? And there goes Joe Beardy trying to keep pace with Barney. Barney representing the Light Sports Esports team, or Lightspeed Esports team. And doing a good job at it. Barney right now is 7th overall with 74 points, just 2 points off of Krejcim with 76. We've got a fourth driver in the mix in that battle for 7th, 8th, and 9th. It's going to be Slow Motion Fire, who's creeping into the picture. You see Chaos Fox just off of his 360 Challenge Stradale's nose. Well done by Slow. And so what can the Awesome Express pull off here at the little bit more than halfway point in this 20-lap race out at the Grand Prix? That 21st lap you see there in the upper left, just a cool-down lap. Doesn't actually count as a full-on racing lap. Slow Motion Fire in 12th on the leaderboard behind Chaos Fox. So here's an opportunity for Slow to do a little hop, skip, and a jump on the leaderboard. Now, week number 2 in the Forza Spec Racing Series, and the way that I present the points here on the broadcast is always a little bit interesting, because when we go into week number 3, it really depends on which week was worst for these drivers, and does that really create a big shift in the standings? Typically, it does not. It's not until about week 4, and then the finale, the final week, week 5, and there goes Jacob T.O.B.O.D. getting a little contact there on the on his front right quarter panel. Chaos Fox's rear left, and with it, Chaos Fox gets out of the sights of Slow Motion Fire. He moves up to 8th. But yeah, it's not until week 4 and week 5 that we really see that championship points total start to come together. And here comes Slow Motion Fire to the inside. It looks like Jacob T was a little bit late on the braking going into turn number 1. And he's just going to be able to shut the door on Slow Motion Fire here. Oh, look at that. It's like Jacob is just taunting you. Have a nice day there on the bumper sticker. And there goes Slow Motion Fire making contact. And as a result, Slow Motion Fire is going to ease up on the accelerator, allow Jacob to recover. And with that, Slow Motion Fire might have made things a little bit more difficult for him to get further down into the top 10. He currently sits on the cusp here, P10. Back behind him in 11th, that's Modern Weapon, AP1 Raccoon in 12th. Then it's Fox Jason D, Grim, Slim Jim, Savage Reaper, Fear the Fun, 13th through 17th. Barf Monkey, our 18th driver, out of the race early in this one. Let's go to 4th with Craytrim, who's knocking on the door here as they roll out of turn 1 into turn 2, now 3. You guys got to help me out there in the chat. I appreciate lurkers, and that's all fine and dandy. But if any of you want to say anything about the race you're seeing here, maybe you have thoughts about Forza Horizon, the next Forza Motorsport title. Maybe you have thoughts about any of my other broadcasts. Maybe you have something to say about real-world motorsports. Please throw it there in the chat. If this is maybe your first time watching the broadcast, let me know what corner of the world you're from. You don't have to be specific about what street address or what country you're in, but if you want to generally say where you are, that's cool too. Get a little bit of a conversation going here. The more you guys interact with me, the more I interact back, the better, the more fun we have. I promise you that. We'll have more fun when we get our a little conversation going here. And hey, maybe you just want to tell me what you're doing right now. Maybe you're watching while you're doing chores, or you're doing homework, or you're you got your feet kicked back on the couch and you're chowing down on some dinner, or you're tossing a cold one back, whatever the case may be. Curious to know what the viewers are up to here in week number 2 on a Tuesday, and hopefully making your Tuesday a little bit more enjoyable, if it wasn't already. If you had a fantastic Tuesday, well, then don't let me try to amp it up for you any more than I really can. I can only do so much, but maybe if you had an abysmal or just mundane Tuesday, maybe we're turning that around a little bit for you here. Joe Beardy, speaking of turning, coming out of turn number, I think that's 3 there, now into 4, the classic part of the track, the GP circuit here out at Indy. And After this race, we'll be jumping out to the Brickyard for 3 laps of qualifying, followed by 32 laps of oval racing. Joe Beardy, oh, hold on to it there, Joe. Back to fourth with Craytrium. No takers? Just going to be quiet. All right. Okay. Like I said, I respect the lurk. I am a self-proclaimed master of the lurk myself. So I won't force it upon you to type anything out. I won't do it. I refuse. DWM Frog says, can't remember, has McQueen won every race of the season so far? He has. He won both the races there in week number 1, is going for his 8th straight race win here tonight, right now, and could possibly pick up his 9th out at the Brickyard, which would make it 9 wins since November 24th of last year. So a bit of dominance here. We see that from time to time in the Forza Spec Racing Series. Heck, here's my challenge to any of the viewers, even though it's a little bit late in the season to get involved. If you think you can beat RZ and McQueen out here, I definitely encourage you to participate here in the Forza Spec Racing Series. Sure, it's a community-run league, so they have no rewards or any, well, not rewards in the monetary sense, like the professional competitive esports world sense of the word rewards. But if you win a championship here in the Forza Spec Racing Series, you get to pick the vehicle for the subsequent season, and then of course all the bragging rights and all that. But if you think you can take down RZ and McQueen out here, who's aiming for eight straight wins with a victory here out at the Grand Prix, then head on over to reddit.com/r/FM4, and we'd love to see you out here on the track. And even though you wouldn't be in the running for the championship here in Season 38, a little bit too late in the game for that, you can get yourself prepared for Season 39, and then maybe you're the one who is the surprise, the dark horse, if you will, who jumps in and takes command of the series. So McQueen is he's not riding solo right now. He's having to deal with the lap traffic. Let's go take a look at McQueen as he does that. He's driving the Chonk livery there on the 360 Challenge Stradale. Great car, lovely car. I've enjoyed this vehicle all throughout its existence in the Forza Motorsport franchise. Very fun car, and even though some drivers would probably say, you know, this car has got its you know, downfalls or shortcomings, somebody like me who really feels at his best in A-Class, this is like my car of choice right here. No doubt. All right, Floofy, he's not contending with any of the lap traffic yet. Let's go to Craytrium. They're in 4th position. He's got Audrex, and he's only got 2 laps now. We'll actually make that 3 as they begin lap number 18. He's got three laps to pull it off and to try to grab a podium spot here. Second would seem to be out of reach at this point unless Floofy makes a dire mistake. But Floofy in a good spot, at least in terms of points. Right now, 94 points coming out of week number 1. You get second, that's 47. 47 points for a single race. The only time that's an exception is in week number 5, where that 9th and final race of the season is a single race, and therefore the points are doubled. Here comes Craytrium now. Let's see if he challenges Audrex. Let's take a look at the vehicle situation, if there's anything to note. I'm guessing not, but you never know. 20% tire degradation up front, that's not going to be enough to really notice, and certainly not enough to make the car uncontrollable. As a matter of fact, it's probably still at its prime and its optimal grip at this point in the race. Now out of that, not the final right-hander, but the penultimate right-hander of the classic circuit before you jump into the oval And into turn number 1 going in reverse. And across the line was McQueen. There goes Floofy. And here is Audrex and Cratrim. White flag flies. What will Cratrim do? When is he going to commit? For a possible pass and overtake out of turn number 2, now into 3. Right there on the back bumper of Audrex, letting him know, you ain't shook me yet. I'm still here. You know Audrex knows it. He's seen him in his rearview mirror the entire race almost. Audrex only running in 4th there for, I don't know, two or three laps before he made the pass around Cratrim. And now, in through the S's. Will Audrex even give Cratrim the chance? Will he even give Cratrim the chance to run up on the inside of him? Well, he does open it up a little bit. Here comes Cratrim to the inside as they get up onto the oval. Audrex a little bit up onto the high side, although that may be on purpose as they line it up through turn number 1, and Audrex is going to hold on to it, picking up the podium spot. P3 out here at the Indianapolis Grand Prix Classic. Audrex in 3rd, Cratrim in 4th, Barney coming around in 5th, Joe Beardy in 6th. Let's go to Chaos Fox, who is in 8th position. Finds himself back behind Kuda 93, and Kuda's got about a 3 or 4 car length lead. And that's where these two will stay. Kuda, 7th, Chaos Fox, 8th, Jacob T. BOED picks up 9th. Slow Motion Fire will grab 10th. AP1 Raccoon is set to finish in 11th. Modern Weapon back there in 12th position. Then I see Fox Jason D. Fear the Fun has found his way back up to 14th. Fear the Fun probably rather I just not even call out his name. He's got Grim behind him in 15th. Savage Reaper in 16th. And then Slim Jim is 17th. The last car, the caboose on the train here in race number 1 of the evening. Let's go to Fear the Fun as he comes out onto the oval now. And he'll hold on to it for 14th, whatever that's worth. Fear the Fun came in with 23 points, and we know he's much, much better than that. He's got the Stark Enterprises livery there, and across the line he goes to call it a race. And so they'll all huddle up there into turn number 1. Slow Motion Fire will take note of where everybody finished, and then we'll get ready to head out to the Brickyard. We'll stay here in Indianapolis and go oval racing. 32 laps coming up after 3 laps of qualifying. You're watching Season 38, week number 2 of the Forza Spec Racing Series here on X-Venture. For those of you who are not subscribers, I do have some ads for you to go through over the next couple of minutes, 3 minutes. Those do contribute back to the broadcast, but then also allow our viewers who might be joining us a little bit later on to avoid those pre-roll ads. So I appreciate you hanging tight and watching those. I promise you're not going to miss any of the action. When we come back, we'll talk to a couple of our drivers in the driver's spotlight. We'll get ready for the second race of the evening, and we'll see what else is what here on X-Venture. It's Tuesday night. You're watching X-Venture Twitch TV. I'm Dustin Moore. We'll be right back after this commercial break. Hello, folks, and a happy Tuesday to you here as we are in week number 2 of the Forza Spec Racing Series, season number 38, featuring the Ferrari 360 Challenge Stradale. They're still taking care of business out on the Grand Prix circuit as they wrap up the first race of the evening. Slow Motion Fire taking note of everybody's finishing position before we get going and hang out to the Brickyard for 3 laps of qualifying, followed by 32 laps of racing. Should be a good one. And let's go to the driver's spotlight, finishing there in, it's going to be 8th position. I don't know why I was going toward 18th. 8th position, Chaos Fox. You and Jacob T were having, actually you and Jacob and Kuda for the majority of the race. Slow Motion Fire even getting in there for a little bit before dropping back out. Quite competitive once again.
Yeah, it was a close match. What really hurt me, and it's a bit of my fault, I didn't pay attention to how much aero was on the car. I had way too much aero. It was great in all the technical sections of the course, but Kuda would just walk away from me on the front stretch and the back straight, and that's really where he just kept pulling distance on me. And if he made a mistake, I was right back on him. But even if I passed him, he would just get right by me again. And if I had the right aero set up, I think you would have saw Kuda and I going back and forth a lot more. Jacob's car wasn't like Kuda's because I could fend him off, but Kuda ran a no aero setup and just destroyed me in the straightaways.
With that being said, as we head out to the Brickyard, are you confident in the setup you have there, or does that have you second guessing where you've got your aero set up for the oval?
I've been getting some help from some of the from a couple of the other SVR drivers. Thank you, Fluffy. So I do feel more confident here. This car is very strange on an oval. You know, it takes a good tune for it to feel stable, so you can be confident. I am fairly confident in what I can do. I believe, I'm pretty confident in the tune. The problem is just me being consistent, and of course, just trying to stay away from any accidents that might happen, because that's my biggest fear with this race. Is I think there's going to be a handful of accidents here. The way these cars are, the way how twitchy they can be, because the back end of these cars, it does not take much to upset these cars, and they spin around, and they're going to be super close. People are going to be bumping and banging. There's going to be a lot of upset drivers, I believe, tonight.
After this one is done, we might have a lot of folks with headaches and saying, why did we do the Brickyard again? Talking with SGR Chaos Fox here in the driver's spotlight. I'm glad you deciphered that post that you had in the Twitch pit lane, our channel chat here, by saying that it was going to be literal pain out here at the Brickyard, and I told Slow Motion Fire to kind of talk through that one, and it's better to hear it from you yourself. What do you do here in qualifying? I mean, qualifying gives you a chance to kind of put yourself, I guess, in the grid where you would want to be, maybe. Do you go all out to try to get the best qualifying lap that you possibly can, or do you kind of put yourself where you might be more comfortable to navigate and see what's happening out in front of you? What's your approach here?
Honestly, I'm looking to get as far up on the grid as I can. As much as I don't want to be stuck in no man's land, because the last time we were at the Indy Oval, it was actually my first season here with the Ford Sierras, and that whole race, while it was good, I think I finished 5th that race. I was just all by myself, and I kind of don't want to get stuck in no man's land again. And at the same time, the Sierra was much better for this track than the Ferrari, so it's kind of like a double-edged sword. No man's land, boring, but not going to risk any kind of chance anybody, nosing the back of the car, and whoop, around the car goes, and there goes my race. But I don't know. I'm going to try to get as far up on the grid as I can and hope for the best.
Okay, well, that's the best you can really do, is always hoping for the best, taking care of yourself and hoping that others are taking care of their position on the track and able to control their car. Chaos Fox, great chatting with you. Best of luck here. Well, first off, congratulations on the top 10 there in the Grand Prix, and best of luck to you here in qualifying.
Thank you.
All right, let me go ahead and rope in Grim. Grim finishing in 16th position behind Savage Reaper there in the first race of the evening. Grim, how did the Grand Prix treat you, the Grand Prix circuit?
I liked it a lot, and it was 15th. It was a weird thing with the way we finished for whatever reason, but I was right behind Fear.
Gotcha.
Yeah, no, I liked the Grand Prix circuit a lot. I spent a little bit of time practicing. I ran full on one of my own tunes. It made me feel pretty good that it drove. Probably it wasn't similar to other people's tunes, but it worked for me. That makes me feel good.
Now, as we get ready to hit the oval, are you as fearful of the Brickyard as Chaos Fox makes it seem?
Dustin, I picked this track. I'm excited. I love it.
We found the culprit. Hey guys, he's over here. Come get him. What I guess I could quite literally say what was going through your head, but what were your thoughts? I mean, the way that, for those who don't know, the way that the tracks are picked is that Slow Motion Fire will post up pictures of the car that has been selected for the season, and then anybody who guesses it correctly gets to pick a track. So when you picked the 360 Challenge Stradale and said, hey, yeah, that's the car that's in the photographs, did you immediately jump to the Brickyard, or did it kind of take a while for you to meander toward that selection?
I knew I wanted to do an oval regardless, just because I grew up on NASCAR, and we need more ovals in FM4, honestly. We just do. And I thought that Indy would be fun. You know, it's a fast car. Indy isn't just a turn left track. You know, there's diversity in every corner on this track, so there's always some attention you're going to have to pay to it. You know, it's not just set it and forget it. And I like Indy Oval a lot. It's fun.
It can be exciting. I don't know that I've ever seen any race where the 360 was the featured vehicle, certainly not in any sort of spec race. So I'm curious to see how this one plays out. Any thoughts in terms of where you finish in this one, knowing that you picked the track?
I don't know if I'm going to have any kind of advantage just because I picked the track. I'm hoping all my muscle memory from all those years of playing NASCAR 05 kick in.
Yeah.
Running Fear's Tune. Fear's Tune is really good with this track. I ran it a bit about 2 hours before racing, and I'm not the fastest out there. I'm not going to be the fastest, but I'm really happy with the times I was pulling, so hopefully I can repeat that.
Do you swap over to a wheel, or are you still on the good old thumbsticks here?
I don't think I could do a wheel. I think I would ever do worse on a wheel. I'm on the thumbsticks.
On the thumbsticks. Well, hey, Grim, thanks for jumping in here. We'll see how you do in qualifying, and then who knows, maybe you will have an advantage here when it's all said and done at the end of the Brickyard 32 lapper. Best of luck during that qualifying session.
Thank you, Dustin.
All right, there's a word from Chaos Fox and Grim, and we still got drivers readying up on the grid, which, by the way, has 3 more drivers than we had in our first race. So we've added to the driver count, which is fantastic. I see Stevie Superstack, who was a participant there in week 1, unable to race in the Grand Prix Classic circuit run that we just had, but is going to be out here for the Oval. Who else do I see out here? I don't know. We'll go through them as we go through the qualifying session. But here we go. 3 laps of qualifying in the 360 Challenge Stradale. Some folks are cursing Grim's name at this point, knowing that he was the one who chose the oval track, and others could possibly be praising him. Will Arzian McQueen be one of those? Let's go ahead and start ourselves a prediction here. Another chance for y'all to earn some channel points. How many dirtied qualifiers will there be? And by this, I mean how many folks will set a dirtied qualifying lap time when their 3 laps are done. Let's go with 0 to 3 and then 4 to 4 or more. And I'm going to give you a whole whopping 2 minutes to do this. Get yourself some channel points. Well, first, wager some channel points and give yourself a chance to earn more. These channel points are useful whenever we go into our raffles here on Xventure. So the more points you have, the more chances you have to win whenever we do go live with those raffles. It's going to be Fox Jason D, who's back here behind Savage Reaper. They're going to be the first to qualify here on lap number 1. We still have some drivers that are getting off the line, as they do have a staggered start here to try to make it easier for the drivers to see, because even though they are ghosted, it can be a bit confusing when you've got a lot of ghosted cars out in front of you, cluttering up the track, cluttering up the apex. Fear the Fun with a 1 minute. Well, as soon as I say that, here comes Barney with a 1 minute, .278, 0.2 of a second there for Barney. Tentatively our pole sitter. And now Audrex with a sub 1 minute with a 59.272. Let's go hang out here with Barney, and we're going to have a lot of this onboard camera work throughout this race. The oval broadcast or replay cameras here in Forza Motorsport 7, not all that good. Not all that good. So here comes Barney now with the 10th quickest time in qualifying. He's going to go ahead and tap the corner. Get those channel points. Hurry, you're running out of time. Make your predictions. Just another way for you to get involved in the fun here on Xventure. You got about 5 to 8 seconds, it looks like. Cast your vote. Will it be 0 to 3 or 4 or more who get dirty laps during qualifying? As they come, or at least Crate here comes. Actually, no, LS Barney coming out of turn number 2 on the oval. Joe Beardy with a 54.088. That's going to be good for pole for right now. As looks like the majority of drivers now on their 3rd qualifying lap. All votes are one-sided. I know. I got to get you guys. I don't know what it's going to take to get you all to participate in these channel point prediction polls. It costs you nothing but your time to watch to earn the channel points, and then to just wager them for the fun of it. Just gives us another way to kind of interact with one another here on the broadcast. I could talk about what you all think. We could see who ends up with the pot. Who are those that guess correctly? I got to figure this one out. There's got to be something. We've got about 4 handfuls of people here watching the broadcast. We certainly can get you guys to partake in a little bit of the fun of the predictors and everything else that we do here. All right, let's see. Let's take a look at those race results. It is going to be, will it be Joe Beardy with the top time? Let me scroll down. I see Chaos Fox with a 54.990. Joe Beardy with that 54.088. Let's go back to the top. Savage Reaper with a 55.8, a 56.0 here for Fox Jason D. 55.1 for Modern Weapon, and it's Fear the Fun with a 54.5. AP1 with a 56, a 54 for Barney, a 55 for Stevie. Same goes for Slim Jim. That's a 55.957 for Slim Jim to Stevie's 55.157. Then a 54.990 for Chaos Fox, 57.032 for Jacob T. Audrex with a 54.5. Slowbush Fire with a 55.7. Great Trim with a 54.2. Kuda with a 55.3. There's Joe Beardy with that pole sitting 54.088. Unless I see another one on here, but I don't think there is. Barf Monkey with a 54.365, a 54.216 for McQueen. So McQueen is most certainly not on pole. A 54.640 for Floofy, a 54.9 for Born as Ghost, and Grim, who we chatted with there in the driver's spotlight, a 55.943. No dirty laps. Not that we had anybody saying otherwise, but kudos to those of you who had confidence in the drivers to keep it nice and clean out there on the track. They most certainly did. And as I look to the driver's spotlight, Joe Beardy, surprised or not at all surprised? You got pole.
Surprised a little bit, you could say the least, but expecting to be in the top 3 to 5. I'd say I expected to be there, but on pole, you could say I'm a little surprised and happy at the same time.
Very good, very good. Did you kind of anticipate that would be your range in terms of quick time, or is that like the fastest that you've had?
No,
Ever?
fastest I've gotten down to was into the 53.8. So
wow.
honestly, I thought I could have gone a little bit faster, but I guess when you I spent a little bit of time practicing some quality sim laps, I guess you could say, doing a pit stop, fresh tires, warm them up, then go do 2 hot laps. But I guess when you're actually in the race pace mode, you want to play it a little safe and not tag a wall and just keep it flat out, on exit. So I turned off the HUD, everything. I just pulled the telemetry up, and I just drove 3 of my own laps, really. And when I turned it back off and it said P1, you could say I was a little ecstatic.
A little ecstatic. I most certainly would be. At the same time, I'd be a bit nervous because now it means, gosh, you're right up there and you're going to have to play a little bit of defense as everybody's going to be vying for your spot. How about you? I asked Grim if he bust out a racing wheel for this. He says, no, man, I'm all thumbsticks. If I got the racing wheel out, I'd probably be worse. Do you swap over? Do you have that ability or no?
Actually, full-time wheel. I haven't used a controller in probably a year. I'm in a full rig, though, so yeah. I'm not sitting up against a desk with a rolly chair. I have a really cheap Challenger setup, so I don't slide back or anything when I'm on the wheel or anything. But no, I think that's part of the big advantage, though, of why I was able to have the qualifying pace I did, is it's very consistent for me, say the least, really. I mean, it's just point and steer and go one way and hit your marks every lap and hold your breath.
Chaos Fox telling us here in the driver's spotlight before qualifying that he's dreading this race, thinking that there might be some headaches out there, that there's going to be some inadvertent content and some inadvertent contact and some collisions out there. Are you as fearing of it, or I don't know, are you kind of in line with Grim, where you're like, no, this is going to be fun here at the Oval?
Well, the fact that I'm starting on pole, I think it'll be a little more fun than starting mid-pack. Yeah, a little bit. I can at least set my own pace. I know we ran some practice races with some guys, well, not races, but just some good practice laps with some of the guys, and to get a pace idea of what it's like running in a group. And the line selection between some other guys is just, it's different sometimes. So that's where it can get iffy, is if you're behind someone having to back off. But I think me being at least pole setter, being able to set my own pace, I mean, it kind of looks bad if someone else takes out the leader. So I guess point, steer, and drive my own race, and hopefully I can put a gap on everyone. My goal is honestly the podium, but if, I can keep it out front the whole race, I'm going to do my best to at least try to, stay up front.
He's on pole, he's on a wheel, and he's trying to pick up a win here in the Forza Spec Racing Series. And, hey, if you do it there, Joe Beardy, this is going to be you putting it into RZM McQueen's what is now, at this point, an eight race victory streak that he's on.
Kryptonite, I'll take full advantage of it if I can. I'll be sure to talk some smack for the rest of the series if I can take him down in this one left turn race.
No pressure, Joe. Have a good one out there.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, there's Joe Beardy telling us a little bit about the fact that he is on wheel. Thinks that gives him a little bit of the advantage, because we've talked about this here on X Venture. It's that it's when you're on the thumbsticks, you have kind of, at least a lot of drivers, there are some who are so smooth with the thumbsticks that they can just maneuver the vehicle through the corner without having to do the slap happy stick movement. But for a lot of folks, I think, to include myself, it is kind of that, very, very much a constant juggle with the thumbstick to navigate through the corner as smoothly as you can. But every time you're bouncing it off the limiter in terms of where your joystick can go, it's moving your car on and off of that smooth driving line that then takes away tenths, hundredths, thousandths of a second, and that's all it takes, especially during qualifying, to make the difference. And now we'll see, as we go out to the track for 32 laps, if that also has an impact, or will McQueen be able to keep pace and then find a way to either intimidate Joe Beardy out of the way or make a clean maneuver just by simply doing so. Like it's McQueen. I mean, I think he can most certainly do it without putting the intimidation factor on Joe. But Joe, I think, at least as the way he was talking there, I think he's got a cool head and may be able to prevail here. And if he does, yes, it would prevent RZ and McQueen from picking up his 9th straight victory. He's on an 8-race tear right now, dating all the way back to November 24th. Let's see here. Joe Beardy is going to bring the heat, says Solus 710. I like it. I like you. You have the cheering section here for you, Joe, saying that you got this one in the bag. Is that a precursor to lactate? Pectate. Oh, I see. Slow motion fire tell me to pectate. You must have reloaded the lobby or something. I was on spectate, and then I came off of it, but now I'm back on. So I think I'm good. And now we're just waiting for Savage Reaper, Modern Weapon, who looks to be the host right now. Joe Beardy, waiting for him to get readied up here after our conversation. It looks like he's all set to go. And so with Savage Reaper, there is his ready indication. 20 drivers ready to go here for the 32 laps around the Brickyard Oval. It's going to be Joe Beardy in the pole position. RZ McQueen opposite him on row number 1. And yes, because this is Forza Motorsport 7 and the way that they have things set up here in the Forza Spec Racing Series, this will be a standing start. This will not be a rolling pace lap, then green flag. It'll be a green flag right from the onset. And because of how things happen here in the Forza Spec Racing Series, the drivers cannot leave their grid mark until Joe Beardy has moved. As soon as he's moved an iota, everybody else is free to depart as well. Let's see here. We might actually move the camera a little bit back. Let me jump real fast to Barf Monkey, who finds himself in row number 2. And we'll hop on board here with Barf Monkey. Oh, Cratrim with a little bit of a false start. Kick the tires, light the fires. Joe Beardy gets us underway on pole position at the Brickyard. 32 laps here in week number 2, race number 4 of season 38. Into turn number 1 they go. It's going to be Barf Monkey in 3rd. You see RZ and McQueen, who's on that hot streak. 7, make that 8 straight after the Grand Prix victory. He's in 2nd. Joe Beardy on wheel in 1st. Back behind Barf Monkey in 4th, it's going to be Cratrim, Audrex, Fear the Fun, Floofy, Chaos Fox, Stevie Superstack, who joins us for the first time here tonight, and Born as Ghost also joining us for the first time this evening. Let's go ahead into that replay mode. Into turn number 3 they go. Single file formation. I don't see anybody side by side for quite a way, although that seems to be getting changed up as they come out of 3. That momentum swinging some of the drivers to the outside. Now here onto the apex for Barf Monkey into turn number 4. He's going to make contact with the wall, and that's going to allow Cratrim to go screaming by. You make contact with that wall, it is almost a screeching halt for you. And there goes Audrex. Oh, yeah, look at that. Barf Monkey dropping back what looks to be about 4 or 5 positions. Now into 9th, make that 7 or 8 spots. Let's go to Chaos Fox in 7th. Oh, yeah, we've got a couple of cars that are severely damaged. We've got Barney and Jacob in pit lane. Born as Ghost and Raccoon are joining them as I speak. Now out at turn number 4, here comes Chaos Fox, and he's got his eye on Fear the Fun in 7th, Audrex in 5th, Floofy in 4th, Cratrim in 3rd, McQueen in 2nd, Joe Beardy still our race leader. There goes some tire smoke as Fear the Fun does his best drift imitation there through turn number 1, now makes contact with the wall, and yes, that's going to slow him down big time. Unfortunately for Chaos Fox, he gets alongside Fear the Fun, has to drop down on the low line through the straight between 1 and 2, and that slowed him up a bit. Now has emerged into P6 onto the back straightaway, uncontested. But he's got Barf Monkey. There's Fear the Fun, who's still there in, well, now he's going to drop back. And oh no, we've got Floofy. He's turned around. Floofy, who was riding in fourth now, has spun around in between turn 3 and 4. Let's go to Cratrim in third position. And Chaos Fox might have called it here in saying that there's going to be a few drivers who are going to be face-palming here at the end of this race. And one of those maybe Floofy, who was second overall in points coming into week number 2. And now with that collision and having to go into pit lane, week number 2 may certainly be Floofy's drop week. Let's go ahead and pull that one back up here on the X-Venture Rewind as we see the very tail end of that. And just innocent bystanders coming in that midfield pack. Some of the folks were able to avoid the incident. Many were not, as we have about 4 drivers into pit lane by my count, to include Floofy, Fear the Fun, Kuda, and Modern Weapon. Fear the Fun just can't buy a break here in week number 2. He was up there in, I think, 7th, and then we saw him get into the wall out of turn number 1, and that very same lap is when he made contact with the out-of-control cars on the back half of the lap. McQueen is still in second. Joe Beardy with a nice lead right now up there in first. Into turn 3. There goes McQueen. He gives up a spot to Cratrim. And so the man who seemed like could not be defeated is now riding in third. He gets on the back end of Cratrim, and oh no. Cratrim may have something to say about that one. Out of turn number 4, they make contact, and that pushes Cratrim up onto the wall. Does he have any damage? He does not. But now here comes Barf Monkey in 5th position. And even Stevie Superstack in tow, going to use that slipstream. And Cratrim at risk of being double passed here. Of course, I'm speaking too soon there because Stevie Superstack and Barf Monkey are going at each other. Stevie able to make the pass up to P5. Sola saying there in the chat, this is a good race. Driver may hate it, but making for a good stream. Yeah, unfortunately, that's oftentimes the case, right? For spectating an event, if they all just went around as smooth and incident-free as possible, a lot of folks go, they shrug it off and go, it was a good race, but nothing memorable about that. It's not until you have incidents that folks go, okay, now we're really getting some action going here. This is fun. This is exciting. RZM McQueen now back up to second. After at risk of dropping back to P3, he's got some lap traffic out in front of him, and we're going to see all of that throughout these 32 laps. The lap traffic will not go away. It'll be relentless. There's Fear the Fun on the low line. He's currently in 17 of the 20 drivers out there on the track. You don't even see Joe Beardy. Well, you do. You see the yellow 360 Challenge Stradale up there, but his gamer tag doesn't even appear above his car. He's that far out in front of McQueen at this point by, I don't know, 2 or 3 seconds. And now McQueen in the mix with it, in the mix with Fear the Fun, and was able to get around Fear. Now he's going to have to get around Barney. That's no small task. The only reason Barney's so far back, he got cut up in the incident earlier on. So while these are back markers, these are back markers that are not necessarily looking to just concede. They're not going to pull off to the side of the track, slow down for you. In particular, Barney and Fear the Fun, they're trying to regain some spots here. If not for points, then at least pride. Cratrim in 4th position. Let's go to Cratrim. He's got Odd Drex in front of him, and he is closing in. As we look down the front straightaway. Civic Element joined us here in the Twitch chat. Says, pedal down, Born. Good to see Bourne joining us here for the second race of the evening. Maybe we'll be back up to full grid status here for week number 3. Would love to see that. Now down the back straightaway they go. There's Jacob T. Boed on the low line. Although Jacob, one of the casualties in the incidents early on. Everything moving pretty smoothly at this point, even though we've got quite a big cluster here coming out of turn number 4. Graytrim continues to hang tight with Audrex. These two were bumper to bumper in the first race out at the Grand Prix Classic. And they are bumper to bumper once again here at the Brickyard. Right on board. Oh! I did not see who that was turned around. That was close. Go to our X-Venture rewind. Wow. Completely turned around. Headlamps beaming into the face of Audrex and Graytrim. A Code Brown moment, as they call him. And look at that, Stevie Superstack. Going to make it a 3-way battle for P3. Stevie to the high line. Graytrim giving them a little bit of a gentleman block there. Now to the low line. They're going to go almost 3 wide. They were lining it up, but just a little bit scary there. Now it's going to go side by side. Audrex and Graytrim. Graytrim is in a bad spot, though. He's got a back marker on his line there. It's Ellis Barney. And now into turn number 3. Well, there goes Barney dropping down to the low line. Audrex has no choice but to slide up back behind Graytrim, and Audrex losing control coming out of turn 3. He was able to save it and keep it off the wall. And so all that work that Audrex had put in to get up to P3, he's going to have to fight to get it back here. And the driver, the back marker who stalled him going into turn number 3, Ellis Barney, is still out in front with that orange and green liveried 360 Challenge Stradale. So Audrex, he's going to be hoping to get around here really, really soon. Otherwise, he's going to lose sight of Stevie. And then out in front of them, it's Graytrim. Arzia McQueen still in second. Joe Beardy in first. And what a story this is going to be. Joe Beardy, one of those drivers who I've recognized and I've always celebrated and said, hey, Joe is one of those drivers to watch. It just has never really come to fruition at the extent that we're seeing here. Yes, Joe Beardy has been a great contender in all seasons that he's participated in, but a chance here to put an end to what is currently an 8-race winning streak by McQueen. It's an oval race, seemingly, that it's going to take here to put McQueen off of the top of the podium. And oh gosh, we've got another car. That's going to be Fear the Fun, who was able to navigate his vehicle down into the grass and onto the pit lane exit out of turn 2 to get out of the way here for Audrex and Chaos. Well, no, Chaos is a little bit further back. Let's go to Stevie in fourth. He's got Graytrim on his radar. There he is. Reminder, folks, my final Find It, Fix It, Flip It Friday here with Car Mechanics Simulator 2018 coming up this Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern, right here on X-Venture. We're going to go ahead and go find some barn finds, some junkyard finds, and take them back to the shop. Get them all nice and fixed up, flip them. Oh, we've got another car that's turned around on the high line out of turn number 3. That's going to be Born as Ghost. I think that might be Born as Ghost's Second time getting the car spun around. And oh no, there goes into the wall Stevie Superstack. That's going to slow him down. Did he incur any damage? It doesn't look to be the case. Able to make it mild enough contact, and that's all Audrex needs to catch back up. I'm telling you, the Walls, they're punishing here out at Indianapolis. Let's go to McQueen, who's dealing with a back marker at this point. It's going to be Modern Weapon there in 14th. McQueen looking to the low line, and it looks like he's going to be able to make the pass as they go into turn number 3. Does Modern Weapon let up a little bit? Maybe does, but then stays in the midline, and there goes McQueen. He's going to drift it through turn number 3 before he makes the recovery, and with that, Modern goes back up in front of him. Again, not the same lap, but that just means McQueen's going to have to fight it, and here comes Craytrim. Craytrim to the inside, picking up P2. At least for now, there's Born as Ghost into pit lane. And so McQueen not only at risk of losing this race for the first time in a long time, but now sitting in third position. He's got Modern Weapon on the high line. Fortunately, they're able to get by with no incident. Craytrim probably feeling a little bit of redemption here after the contact that he and McQueen had earlier that put Craytrim back a couple of spots. And so the fact that Craytrim's been able to make a recovery is quite stellar. Joe Beardy. I want to say in a good spot. However, as you look ahead on the horizon, it's like a billowing storm cloud of traffic, and we've got a car that is off the pace out of turn number 2. Fortunately, they'll be on the straightaway by the time Joe catches up, but let's see here what Slim Jim and let's see, there's Kuda on the low line. Slim Jim is staying on the high side, and now Slim and Kuda are going to go side by side, effectively creating a rolling roadblock here for Joe Beardy. That's not what he wants to see. Not at all. And yeah, I do hear Joe coming off the throttle a little bit, maybe just waiting to come out of the turn cleanly before he makes the charge. And oh, punts a cone. That actually is going to slow him down nominally, but yes, enough that you notice it. And he gets around Slim Jim. Let's go back to McQueen in third. Dustin Moore on the call here, X-Venture, and a Tuesday Forza Spec Racing Series. And for anybody who might be watching us on demand, either on Twitch or over on YouTube, thank you so much for your viewership, live or not. I see the numbers. I know you all are watching. Look at that. Oh, my. Risky. Risky there by McQueen. Pushing the issue once again. That's exact same corner that he and Craytrim exchanged blows earlier on. Well, maybe not blows, but jabs earlier on, and sent Craytrim up into the wall. Now here they approach Slim Jim. This is where Joe Beardy had to get by about a lap and a half ago. And there goes Craytrim. He's going to get around Slim Jim. Slim Jim is actually going to get on what looks like the brakes. I don't know if maybe that's just a lighting glitch or a rendering, but it looked like maybe he got on the brakes a little bit to wave these two by, and it looks like McQueen's going to be able to get through with no problem. My playthrough. Saddle Up Sunday, Red Dead Redemption 2, episode number 10. This Sunday, 8 a.m. Eastern Time. As I work my way through the epilogue. Yes, finished up the main story and now in the epilogue with John Marston, see how that one plays out, and I've got my fingers crossed, and I sure hope that Rockstar has a nice little surprise up their sleeves with a remastering of the original. That way I can play that at some point, pick up the storyline where Red Dead Redemption 2 leaves off, because it is actually a prologue to the original Red Dead game. But hey, at least come see me to finish up Red Dead Redemption 2. Again, Sunday, 8 a.m., right here on X-Venture. Running through the field, Joe Beardy, who got pole during qualifying. He's in first. Cratrim in second, McQueen in third. Stevie Superstack has made it back up to fourth position. Audrex in fifth. Chaos Fox in sixth. Barf Monkey is seventh. Slow Motion Fire in eighth. Then it's Grim and Savage Reaper, followed by Fox Jason D in 11th. Kuda, Slim Jim, Modern Weapon, LS Barney, Fear the Fun, Jacob T, AP1 Raccoon, Floofy, Born as Ghost are 12th through 20th. DWM Frog says, can't believe killed off the main character, Arthur Morgan. Yeah, Arthur Morgan is, he's done so. I mean, it wasn't the tuberculosis that did him in. He was effectively put down by Micah while Dutch Vanderlyn watched on. Sad end to the story of Arthur Morgan there. Coming across the line for lap 22 is Jacob T. And Cratrim and McQueen, not all on the same lap. It's these latter two who are like, Jacob, move it. Jacob's going to be on the midline here. That's going to put the block there on McQueen. McQueen's going to maybe use the slipstream a little bit and then try to slingshot himself out here, likely onto the back bumper of Cratrim as they go into turn number 3, or maybe not. Maybe McQueen likes that high line and is going to stick it there. Oh, and McQueen gets a little squirrely, and up into the wall he goes. And that's going to probably do it for McQueen. Going to necessitate a pit stop. All the while, the top 10 is going to cruise on by. And so just like that, the winning streak ends, but then also week number 2 looking like the one that McQueen is going to have to give up for the rest of the season. And with 3 more weeks of racing to go, that puts McQueen in an uncomfortable spot. There goes Fox Jason D up onto the high line. That puts Cratrim in a tough spot, and he actually makes a collision there with Born as Ghost, I think it was. And now is Cratrim. Cratrim is damaged. In second position, will Cratrim try to finish this race out? I don't know that he can with 11 laps to go, but what choice might he have? He's got Stevie Superstacks right behind him, and oh my gosh, what a turn of events we have here out at the Brickyard. And I hate to say it, but I think Chaos Fox has called it, and Cratrim, he is going to go ahead and commit himself into the pit lane, get that car fixed up, and try to grab a few more positions between now and the end of the race. Stevie now making his way up to P2. Audrex in third, Chaos Fox in fourth, Cratrim in fifth, Barf Monkey in sixth, Slow Motion Fire also into pit lane at this moment. RZ and McQueen just now getting out of turn number 3 up to turn 4, and this is where we should see him go into pit lane. Yeah, that car is all kinds of, well, actually, does he already have it fixed up? He does. He's already gone into pit lane, so he's good. McQueen's still in the top 10. That's pretty darn good, and looking to get around Grim for P8. Back to Chaos Fox in fourth. Lap 25. Gets around Slim and Modern Weapon. And oh, we've got another car spun around after turn number 1. That's going to be, oh my. And the car was, I think, moving to try to get out of the way. But as you're that oncoming full-speed traffic, it's really hard to predict where the spun-around cars are going to go. That was a scary situation, but crisis averted, and there goes Chaos Fox now. Going to go ahead and Formula drifted up there through turn number 3. Yeah, the fact, good call there, Solis. The fact that Joe Beardy is making his way through the field unscathed. Look at that car. I don't even see so much as a scratch on that thing. He's really putting that wheel to work in keeping him out of trouble. Now, it looks like he's got Floofy, who is now part of lap traffic. Floofy trying to reclaim his lap at this point. And, gosh, for Joe Beardy, oh, gosh, you got to worry a little bit here for Joe Beardy. He's got 2 bits of lap traffic. One of them is a top 10 contender, and the other one is trying to get his lap back, and now we've got the loading screen. And so we probably had somebody duck out of the race. And that's my guess. Slim Jim is actually out, either on purpose or accidental, and there goes... Oh, Joe. Joe, get away, Joe. Joe gets by Grim. And, wow. There's Fear the Fun. What happened to Floofy? Floofy fell back a little bit. So where Floofy was trying to get a lap back, he is now a little bit further out of the picture here for Joe Beardy, at least for right now, but we still have what is going to be, when it comes across the line, 5 laps to go in this 32-lap race. But many reasons to commend Joe Beardy in this one. Probably the most commendable is the fact that he's been able to work his way through all the traffic without incident. Stevie still in second, Audrex in third, Chaos Fox in fourth, Barf Monkey in fifth, Slow Motion Fire in sixth, and we really don't have a tight race throughout the top 10. Craytrim in seventh, McQueen in eighth, Grim in ninth. The closest of the top 10 is going to be Grim in ninth and Kuda in 10th. Grim, as a reminder, selected this track. And so there might be a lot of finger pointing at the end of this one saying, Grim, thanks a lot. Thanks, but no thanks. Slim Jim telling us they're in pit lane, got a disconnect. Yeah, we hate to see those in the online world of esports, whether it be racing or any other genre of gaming. Disconnects are never fun. It's the equivalent, at least in the racing world, we have some sort of equivalent. It's like you're losing a motor and you just can't get back out on the racetrack. That's really the way to chalk it up. I know that's not it doesn't make anything easier for the drivers. It doesn't help them any, but that's kind of the way that I look at it. 5 weeks of racing, taking the top 4 for your championship points. You win the championship. You get to pick the vehicle for season number 39. RZ and McQueen, who won season 37, picked this 360 Challenge Stradale, and up to this point was doing damn good. He had picked up the first 3 victories of the season, both in week 1 and in our Grand Prix Classic circuit that preceded this Brickyard race. It's the Brickyard that is turning out to be the downfall. And oh my gosh, we had another driver who was up on the wall as Audrex came out of turn number 4. It just, the clinching moments, the moments of holding your breath just do not cease to exist. They're going to go all the way to the checkered here, I'm guessing. Let's see if Audrex is going to be able to catch up with Stevie, who is in second. Chaos in fourth, Barf in fifth, Slow in sixth. Well done by Slow Motion Fire. And this is that's Slow Motion Fire, who's gone into pit lane, by the way. So to be running in sixth with a pit stop is that's impressive. Folks, if you're enjoying the content here this evening, I promise you we've got a lot more of it to come over the next 3 Tuesdays and then some. Also broadcasting on Fridays and on Sundays. Please click that follow button. Lets me know as the broadcaster that you've enjoyed your time here. You'll get a nice little alert at the bottom of the screen welcoming you to the channel as a follower. And for those of you who wish to go above and beyond in supporting the broadcast with a subscription, either with a monetary sub, so you're paying out of your pocket, or if you've got your Twitch account linked to your Amazon Prime account, then you've got Prime Gaming, which gives you a subscription, 1 monthly subscription free of charge that you can apply to any channel across Twitch of your choosing. If you wish to use it here, be greatly appreciated. 100% of proceeds here, after Twitch takes its cut, whatever comes to me, I turn it around in the form of production value and then also viewer giveaways. I know production value, you're like, Dustin, whatever. We do giveaways quite often, and so those are not possible without those who go above and beyond here for the channel. And if you do subscribe to the channel, guess what? You can pick a corner for our final race here of Season 38. You can pick a corner out there at VIR, Virginia International Raceway, to name. You just have to sub and then head on over to that Google form, fill it out, tell me what you want a corner to be named, and I'll call it out during the finale here in 4 weeks' time, February the 9th. You got to make that decision, though, by February the 2nd. Complete that form by February the 2nd, and you'll have yourself a named corner there at VIR for race number 9. All right, here we are, and across the line goes Joe Beardy. He picks up the win. Stevie Superstacks in second. Odge Rex will pick up third. Chaos Fox in fourth. Barf Monkey is going to get fifth, maybe. Not without a little bit of an oh crap moment, because here comes Slow Motion Fire. Oh, Barf Monkey with just enough separation there to get fifth. Slow Motion Fire in sixth. Arzian McQueen, after that devastating crash there in turn number 3, is going to secure P7. Cratrim with a multitude of incidents here in this one, many of which were not his doing. He's going to finish in 8th position. Then it's going to be Kuda, Grim, Modern Weapon, and Fox Jason D to round out your top 12. We'll go through the entirety of the finishing order here when we get back from the ad break. Yes, a little bit of an ad break. Then we'll go to our driver spotlight, talk to some of the drivers who may have some very interesting comments to share with us here on X Venture, so don't miss that. We'll preview week number 3, and we'll tell you more about what's to come here on X Venture over the next month. I'm Dustin Moore. You're watching Forza Spec Racing Series action here. X Venture, Twitch TV, week number 2 coming to a close. I'll be right back. Welcome back. X Venture here as we wrap up week number 2, Forza Spec Racing Series in the 360 Challenge Stradale. After 2 races out at the Indianapolis circuit, both the Grand Prix Classic and the Brickyard. Solus, DWM Frog, Slim Jim, Slow Motion Fire, Savage Reaper there in the chat, the pit lane as we call it here on X Venture, congratulating Joe Beardy, who puts an end to RZ McQueen's 8-race winning streak. Was going for his 9th out here at the Brickyard, but Joe Beardy with his racing wheel, and after qualifying on pole, said, not too fast. That's where it all ends right here in race number 4 of season 38. I can't tell you with certainty, however, because of the drop week rule that is in effect as we head into week number 3, we will still find RZ and McQueen atop the leaderboard with 100 points. It'll be in week number 4, week number 5, as we head into those, where really we're going to start to see the championship picture start to be realized. But yes, congratulations, Cratrium joining in on the kudos there in the pit lane, as everybody kind of tips their hat there to Joe Beardy, and maybe we'll hear from the man himself as we close out things here tonight. There's a look at the schedule, and while you have a chance to see the schedule, let's go ahead to our driver spotlight and what could be a very animated conversation with some of our folks. We'll start with Stevie Superstack. Quite a roller coaster filled event for you. You were all over the top, I think maybe top 5, top 6, finding yourself finishing out P2.
Yep, I was all over up in there. I think I qualified around 10th place, had a terrible qualifying. But then I got a setup from Fear the Fun, so shout out to him. I picked up at least half a second after using that, and then slowly but surely made my way through the field, and just like to thank all the wrecks that happened to make that possible.
Thanking all the wrecks. You don't often hear that out of the mouths of any driver, but here in the virtual world where it doesn't put anybody's health or life at stake, you can kind of be thankful for some of the accidents out there on the track. At any point, did you almost get caught up in an accident?
Oh, a couple times. I hit the wall once. Luckily, I was able to recover from that, and I think I bumped into somebody at one point, but I almost hit when Fear the Fun got taken out. I went low, and he ended up getting the worst end of that. And then when McQueen spun out in turn 4 as well, I went high and got lucky there. So, just lucky today. A little bit of speed, a little bit of luck, but it not bad. I'm pretty happy with the second place.
Not too bad at all. You entered week number 2 with 77 points, so this should help you out maybe a little bit. Of course, things are a little iffy early on in the schedule or early on in the season because of the drop week rule that's going to factor in with the championship points tally. Where do you want to be when race number 9 is all said and done? I know that's quite a ways out in the future, and for anybody who says, "Yeah, I'm going to take it race by race," it's not a question I'd like to answer. But do you have any aspirations here for season 38 on where you want to be when it's all said and done?
Well, I'd like to try to win one, but as far as the championship goes, I'm not going to be able to make every race this season. So
Okay.
just show up, just have fun, try to win a race. The one I actually care about is Long Beach West next week, which is going to be literally hell on earth. So that's going to be fantastic.
Man, what a mix of emotions there. You say it's going
It's going to be great. It's that track. It's the shortest track I think that's on Forza, and we're gonna have 20 something people there. So it's gonna be quite the social experiment. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, any of our viewers who were thinking that things were chaotic and hectic out here at the Brickyard, hold on to your pantalones because it's about to get even more chaotic out there at the west route of Long Beach. Okay, so you're looking forward to that one because of the oddball nature of it. Is there any particular track that maybe is not so short and not so hectic that you think you're going to be able to excel at in the remaining 3 weeks of the schedule?
Maybe Nürburgring. I forget, what are the other 2 tracks besides those?
You got Nürburgring. We have VIR for the finale. Suzuka Full there in week number 4. Then Laguna Seca and Long Beach next week.
Yeah, maybe Suzuka. I think I might do well there.
Okay. How do you feel with your car right now? I know you said you're not going to be able to make all the races, so you already know that the championship's going to be out of reach. But that being said, are you pretty happy with the way that you have the car set up, or maybe there are a few adjustments that you'll be able to make to make it even that much more competitive?
Yeah, I'm struggling a little bit on the higher speed tracks with this setup, but I mean, Fear's setup was literally night and day compared to mine. So I'll probably just, maybe just get one from him next week. We'll see. Maybe he will get me towards the top again.
All right, Stevie Superstack picking up second place out here. What was a very crazy, chaotic race out at the Brickyard, and he says he's looking forward to the Long Beach race. We'll see you out there next week.
Going to be great. Thanks, Dustin.
You bet. All right, let's go ahead and bring into the driver's spotlight now the man of the hour, probably the one driver who, apart from whenever a championship is won, usually when the championships are won, a lot of folks there in the pit lane will say congrats to a driver. This is the first time I think I've seen in week 2 or anywhere else through the first 4 weeks where everybody's kind of coming out and saying, well done, sir.
You could say that. Pumped is an understatement.
I know it's more than just, putting an end to a winning streak of another driver. If you're racing, you always want to finish out in front. But how satisfying was this race, particularly knowing just how strange and just crazy it was?
Yeah, it was kind of hard to put in place. I had to take my watch off so I didn't have my heart rate on me, honestly. Like, being able to start on pole and just knowing, like, you just got to drive the 32 clean laps. Like, you started in the front, just keep it in the front. And, man, being able to lead it start to finish is a good feeling, I guess I could say. I don't know. I don't know what to say, really. I'm kind of a little speechless, but I mean, if there was one race on this schedule that I knew I was going to be able to have a chance at a podium or a win, this was it. I guess I'm just glad I was able to back my nerves and be able to, put the focus in and drive 32 clean laps without hitting walls. So,
you told us during the conversation before the race got started, you've got the wheel. That helps you out a little bit. I think that would help a lot of drivers, even though there's been some who say, no, the wheel isn't gonna help me at all. What else about your setup? Do you have a rear view mirror in your UI, your HUD there, or was this one of those races that said that you said, hey, I've got pole, I've got my racing wheel, I'm confident, I'm just going to look forward and not look backward?
So I run my common view that I like to run usually is the hood view, where it automatically has the rear view in it. So I had the rear view the whole race just to kind of see where guys were at and where my distance was. But I turn off the stuff that shows your position every time, and as well as like your split times. To where it only shows up only when you go through the finish line loop, or your split times, the only time it'll show it. And then I also take off the one where it shows you your distance gap for like how far ahead somebody is or how far behind you. I don't want to know if someone's catching me, and I don't need to know if someone's catching me type of thing is how I've always been. I'd rather be able to use my own references and drive my own race, really, because I've noticed once you see that someone is catching you potentially, which I knew Stevie was catching me a little bit there towards the end, but the minute you start noticing that, that gap starts getting a little smaller each lap and smaller each lap, it can really make you just buckle under the pressure. So I like to turn that off and just kind of be able to put your own focus down and drive your laps.
Yeah. Very, very good. Very well said. But that being said, was there ever a point where you noticed maybe out of the corner of your eye in your rearview mirror, cars spinning, smoke and all that, and you go, oh my gosh, it's only a matter of time before that happens to me?
I want to say, well, absolutely. I definitely saw people spinning, or, you see somebody up ahead hitting the wall, but did I ever think I was going to be part of one? No. My thing was just try to make sure I wasn't going to be type of thing. I know a few times I could see someone way out on the exit, and you just hope, like, please don't, like, go to cut across the track right now. Like, please don't. Like, I'm staying low. Just please keep the car on the high side as I go by, please. And which thankfully that worked out every time. But I will say it got a little hairy with some lappers. But, I had to respect the fact that, those guys are racing for their own position. Just because I'm the leader doesn't mean I can push them out of the way or anything. I got to be able to, navigate safely and hope they'd give me room when the time came. So that was probably the most scary part, though, is definitely having to go through lap traffic.
Got two more for you here. The wheel, you talked about how it helps you with staying smooth. That gives you a nice qualifying time. Of course, once you get into the race, sometimes having the fastest lap doesn't really mean a lot, especially when you're having to deal with lap traffic like you just mentioned. Does being on a wheel also give you that additional confidence of being able to handle the car so that even if you do get tangled up with some of those back markers, a little bit of a flick of the wheel or something that's a little bit more, I guess, familiar in terms of handling a car, you've got the advantage there? Or do thumbsticks maybe help you with recovery? Which is it?
I guess it kind of depends what you're accustomed to. I
Yeah.
mean, personally, I've grown up with a racing background my whole life, from dirt bikes to go-karts to also, I'm a heavy equipment operator for a profession. So I'm used to always having something in my hands, for a feel. So personally on my wheel, I'm on a Logitech G920, and on all the cars I run, I turn the feedback up all the way on the wheel just to get as much strength in it as I can, and as much feedback in it. And so it gives me a lot better feel to when I can feel that the steering almost goes limp on the wheel. It kind of gives me a better feel that I'm not pushing the car, that the front tires aren't over sticking, or they're not starting to understeer. So that's kind of really where I like to have the feel at, as well as with where I had the throttle dead zone set at. So but it really just came down to hitting your marks every single lap, like you were kind of saying. Just the smoothness is where the advantage really lied with the wheel on being able to drive the clean laps every lap.
We saw you there. Speaking of dealing with lap traffic, we saw you toward those final laps, having to deal with lap traffic. However, it's one of those situations where the lap traffic was very respectable, very fast drivers. Like, these weren't folks that you could just get around easily. These are folks that either got caught up in an accident earlier on in the race or were just having bad luck, and they were still fighting for their position, so they weren't letting up. So almost in a sense, you're fighting for position even though you're not.
Pretty much, yeah. I will say that made it a lot simpler to be able to navigate, knowing that everybody was carrying a good pace. Because I'd say one of the hardest things is no different than being on the freeway. If somebody's going under the speed limit, it's hard to judge what their next move is going to be on if they're going to stay high, go low. But being able to run down the straightaway and say I had the speed to maybe dive bomb someone or scare somebody, it wasn't worth it, knowing that they'll eventually start to push somewhere and whatnot, and I'll make the clean pass when it's ready. I mean, and most people I'd imagine, which I know I've drive this way, you're always aware of who's behind you or who's catching you, to where if a leader's behind you, give them the room when it's there. So I think everyone was pretty respectful in that sense. So I had no complaints really when it had come time to go around the lappers. Everyone kind of gave room or moved to the bottom of the track and let off and then jumped back in line. So I tried to give them as much space as I could to not ruin their race. I'd say everyone else kind of did the same thing to not ruin mine. So
very well done. Well, quite the finish, quite the race overall, but well done on picking up the victory here in race number 4 of season 38. And hey, Logitech, give this guy a sponsorship. Hook him up. He's got the wheel.
I wish, right?
Folks are like, oh, Logitech. Okay, well, let me go pick one of those up. No, Stevie, Joe Beardy, great chatting with you here. Stevie, who was behind you in second place, also had a great run, but just not able to take the spot from you. Joe, awesome work. Actually, this will be my last question for you. Any shout outs here for you tonight?
Oh, honestly, biggest shout out is Fear the Fun One. Man hooked it up with a great tune, honestly. It's even uploaded for shared. I don't know what he did with it. He mentioned a few things on what he was doing. I was building my own tune for the car, and whatever he managed to do with it, with the ride height and the way he set the arrow and the camber on it and everything, it worked really well for me. Some guys ran it, weren't too fond of it, had to make their own little adjustments to it. But yeah, Fear's a pretty good tuner. A lot of the tunes that he likes to build seem to work out well. We seem to have a similar driving style. I noticed he likes to have a lot of front grip as well as I. So honestly, biggest shout out is out to Fear. So hooked it up with a good tune for this race.
Very good. Joe, I know maybe week 3 might be a little bit of a reckoning. It'll be maybe back to normal, but hey, you can ride high here in week number 2 with a victory out at the Brickyard. We hope to see you back out on the track here in a week's time.
Awesome. Thanks, Dustin.
All right. And that's not to say that Joe won't be competitive toward the front of the pack, because, mind you, I had the leaderboard up there, 79 points coming into week 2. That's only to say, hey, I'm guessing RZ and McQueen is going to be coming back with a vengeance there in week number 3. So it may be short-lived, but Joe Beardy has shown that it is entirely possible. Granted, it was a change of track format, but you never know. You never know what remains here in the final, what do we got, 2, 4, 5 more races in season 38. Graham, well done, sir. You pick the track, you get yourself a top 10. That went quite well for you.
Yeah. So what everybody hates about ovals is my favorite part, and that's all the crashing. It's not great to be involved in it, and I get that, and I'm sorry to everybody. But when you thread the needle just left, right, you don't get involved in the fray, then it's like the best feeling in the world. I feel bad for my girlfriend because that first wreck, I managed to sneak past and I just yelped like loud. She was right next to me. I think it startled her a bit.
Is it something that you fancy that at some point in the season here in the Forza Spec Racing Series you get to play the Grinch a little bit?
Yeah, not necessarily. Like I said, when I first picked Indy, I had no idea like how hated the track was. It was a little funny hearing people complain about it, and Joe was like the only person who believed in me and who was on board with it, and he won. That felt good.
Yeah, Joe was all up for it with his wheel for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Tell us about your move up the pack. I mean, there were quite a few incidents in that mid-pack area. Were those the contributing factor for you moving up? I'm guessing maybe the answer is yes, but were you doing pretty good throughout that race? Unfortunately, I wasn't able to have the camera on you as much as you probably deserved, but what was the race like in its entirety for you?
It was pretty good. My biggest thing was consistency, which I was doing fairly well. I was hitting about 55s the whole time. The crashes definitely did help, and I can't ignore that either. So just threading the needle, I know every time I'd come across a wreck, I would just have the thought in my brain is like, just keep going straight, because if the car's there now, it probably won't be there later, or by the time you get there.
So you picked the Brickyard. You, even though you won't say that you love being a Grinch a little bit throughout the season here in the Forza Spec Racing Series, you seem to at least revel in the fact that there was the kind of craziness that was the Brickyard. Are you then also one who is a little bit intrigued and excited for Long Beach, the west route, the short west route for week number 3?
I am absolutely excited for that. Not because I think I'll do well. I'm going to do garbage, but the chaos is fun. I like mixing it up a little bit because I feel like the crazy races like Long Beach or when we did Rio Short last season, it really gives a chance to really randomize everything, you know? Kind of throws a bit of a wild card in there, shake up the points a bit.
I think we found who people love to hate in the Forza Spec Racing Series. Talking with Grim, talking with Grim here in the driver's spotlight. Let me even throw another one out there as we look at the schedule here for our viewers. You got the Long Beach West route next week, and then in week 4, you got Suzuka. Okay, cool. Then the Nürburgring Nordschleife. So we've got two more weeks of kind of these out of the norm type locations. What about the Nürburgring? Are you thrilled about that one, or is that more of a pain in the neck than it's worth?
I'm okay with Nürb. It's fun. I think what I like the most about it, because I'm not going to try to be competitive at Nürb. Like, I'm going to try, obviously, but it's just one of those where I'm just happy to get through it with a clean lap, and I'm just happy to get through it, just in general, you know?
Yeah.
Suzuka's horrible. I hate it. Suzuka is my Indy.
Suzuka is your Indy. Everybody just load the schedule up with short tracks or oval tracks for Grim, and he'll be thrilled. You'll be good to go, right as rain in an entire season. All right, Grim. Well, always great chatting with you. Thanks for the insight from your perspective. Well done, 10th place finish out at the Brickyard, and hope to see you in week number 3 for.
Sorry. Can I thank a couple people?
Oh, quick? I was going to say, what do you have for shout-outs? So fire away. Have at it.
Fear, actually. Never thought I'd ever give him a shout-out, but his tune, the same one Joe used, that was the one that got me through this, because I was trying to tweak it a bit, and I couldn't seem to quite get it, and then I was practicing with Joe just one-on-one a little bit a couple hours ago, and he suggested using Fear's tune, and Joe gave me a couple pointers. He's the second person I wanted to shout out. Because he believed in me. He liked the track. He believed in the track, and he helped me a lot just with our quick, 20-minute just with each other practice.
Yeah, nice.
So, Fear and Joe, thank you both.
Fear and Joe, and this will be my official call to Fear to the driver's spotlight cue, because he's getting the kudos for the tune, and then we know that Fear didn't have necessarily the finishes that he would prefer. Kind of curious about what's going on with him and his tune that seems to be so successful for everybody else. But nonetheless, Grim, again, well done here tonight out at the Brickyard track, and look forward to seeing what you're able to pull off in week 3.
We'll see. Thank you, Dustin.
You bet. All right, that's all I see in the driver's spotlight, unless we do, in fact, get Fear in there or anybody else who may be interested to talk. We got through the races pretty quickly here tonight. That tends to happen with the oval. Any week that we have an oval race gets things done a little bit sooner than normal. DWM Frog there in the chat saying, great interview, Beardy. Great racing and interviews. Week 2 was a good one for viewers. It was exciting. And it started off with kind of a very mellow introduction to the week. There wasn't a lot of craziness out there at the classic GP circuit. As a matter of fact, pretty much the way things started is how they finished, with a few minor exceptions. But then the same absolutely could not be said for the final race of the evening out there at the Brickyard. We do hit our halfway point next week. Laguna Seca wraps up the first half here of season 38, 19 laps. I'm definitely looking forward to that one. Always have a great time. As a matter of fact, I think some of the best races that we've had here on X Venture, not only in the Forza Spec Racing Series, but in the events that I've hosted in the Mileage Masters 3050, some of the best broadcast events that we've had here have stemmed from Laguna Seca. So mark it on your calendar, if that is even such a thing these days. Put a reminder in your phone, on your computer, whatever you need to do to join us here at 8 p.m. Eastern next Tuesday. It's going to be another good one, and then it's going to be followed by what could be a clown car race of Long Beach West Route 70 laps. I would have to take a look at the mileage on that thing. It might not be more than a quarter or 3/10 of a mile. I'm not entirely sure, but show up here a week from tonight, and we'll find out together and just see how spectacular that event's going to be. Yes, because the Long Beach West Route does not have a pit lane, the collision damage will be turned off. Tire degradation, fuel depletion will still be there, although those have not been a factor in this season whatsoever, and I don't anticipate it to be even for that 70-lapper there at Long Beach. Either way, it's going to be a brawl. It really will. There's not a lot of width to that track to work with. Sure, you can get too wide, but anything more than that, and it's just going to end up in a cloud of smoke. And then 2 weeks from tonight, it's Suzuka Full, followed by the Nürburgring Nordschleife. Yeah, I mean, how awesome is that race going to be? The Nürburgring, it's a long track, and it takes a very long time to get back over to pit lane. So if you have any incident, I was going to say early on, but at any point in that race, it's going to be devastating. As a matter of fact, Nürburgring has been one of those tracks where folks have gone in with a winning streak, and just because it's one of those where anything can go wrong very, very easily. If there's any track where a great driver can have a lapse in concentration or judgment, it's going to be at the Nordschleife. That race could be a joker round where we see maybe one of the unsuspecting racers become a winner out there at that one. And that's followed by week number 5 out at the Virginia International Raceway. And you all, the viewers, can dictate what those corners are going to be named. I implore you, be a part of the fun. Keep it family friendly. That's the only requirement that I have. But if you are a subscriber to this channel, either now or any time between now and February the 2nd, head on over. Well, after you subscribed, head on over to that link that Nightbot has just dropped in there. As a matter of fact, if you're just curious, you're not a sub right now, you're just curious, click on that link. You'll see all the details. You'll have a track map to reference to say, hey, this is what I want to select. And I've already pulled a couple of those corners that have already been claimed by some of the folks who have already completed the form. So get a corner named of VIR. That way on February the 9th, we're going to have the track map on screen with everybody who's named a corner. Will be nicely called out there, and then I will be calling out the corner names as we get around through the race. Every corner will be called at least once, And if your corner happens to have a lot of action, maybe called multiple times. But just another way for you all to get involved, and a fun way for me to give you a way to kind of have an impact on the broadcast, to have some sort of personalized, unique name that I can shout out is always fun. We've done this before with the Forza Spec crew. They've named corners, but this is the first time that I've applied it to subscribers, allowing you all to have the naming rights. So ahead of time, thank you for the support, because everything, again, goes directly back to the broadcast in one way or another, either through production value or through viewer giveaways. So if you make that decision, either through the monetary out-of-your-pocket subscription or through your Twitch Prime or your Prime Gaming, I guess is what they call it now, through that subscription option, then thank you a ton. Thank you a ton. And I'll have more ways to give back to subscribers, or at least more ways to acknowledge the subscribers, those who do go above and beyond, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit. As a matter of fact, I've got an announcement that'll happen 1 week from tonight. Let me go ahead and go over to the driver spotlight one last time this evening. I see Fear the Fun in there. Fear the Fun, you're getting all the kudos in the world for your tune of the 360 Challenge Stradale. It's just not working out so hot for you.
I'm not having a good season so far, but you know what? Somebody won with my tune, and another person got their first top 10 with my tune, so I think I'm doing okay.
You're doing okay if you're guilty by association of the tune, and by guilty I mean you're in a good spot with folks saying, yeah, that's a heck of a tune. This is a great opportunity, because I know you probably rather not talk about your performance out on the track, but for you to say, hey, as an ambassador of the Forza Spec Racing Series, if you're not great with tuning, we've got folks to help you out, right?
Exactly. Yeah. If you're good, bad, moderate, learning, we like to help people. We like to show people what we got. I don't even know how to say it. I'm not a great tuner, but apparently I had a good oval track for Indy tonight. I know Joe Beerte ran, a bunch of people ran it. Grim ran it. I think Slow ran it too.
Mm-hmm.
It was apparently really good.
There you go. If you get any award this season, it's for the Great Tuning Award. Is there any sort of tuning that could prepare the drivers for 70 laps around Long Beach West next week?
I don't know. I think that's just gonna be more of like trying to stay out of wrecks, because there's probably gonna be a lot of wrecks, and more so just being more consistent than anything.
Let's call out who is responsible for that one. Do you know who's responsible for putting the Long Beach West route on the schedule this season?
I think it was Slow. I'm not positive. It might be Slow. It might be maybe Kuda. No, I don't know. I don't know exactly who it was. Hold on. You know what? I can look it up real quick, because I'm
sure.
already...
Let's put them on blast. I would love to put on blast whoever's got us running 70 laps of Long Beach West next week. Not necessarily for my sake, but I want to hear all the other drivers' name and shame next week when they've had enough of the Demolition Derby.
It is neither Kuda or Slow. It is Mr. Stevie Superstat. The new guy just likes to come in and make havoc and all that good stuff.
I feel like I had this conversation with Stevie last week, who actually said that. So maybe I'm just not remembering, and Stevie told me. But there you go, folks. That's who we have to either blame or thank for the fun that will be next week's race number 2 on the book for week 3 after Laguna Seca. After what will probably be a very respectable race by all drivers, and then it'll be spoiled by the fun out at Long Beach. Fear the Fun. That being said, first 2 weeks not awesome. Maybe was thinking I was hopeful for you that week 2 would be the one that you can come in and turn it around. But that being said, I mean, I'm guessing you're just going to race this one out for the rest of the week, or for the rest of the season, and then I don't know. Is it a different car that will work for you, or is it just it's not the car, it's not necessarily you, it's just a combination of a multitude of things?
Week 1 was a mixture of me or Slip running into me, but that's no big deal. I've ran into people like I did in week 2, where I ran into Audrex, or race 2 of last week, and I I got bumped by somebody in the rear in the GP, and I missed my braking point exactly after that, and I got hit by a barf monkey. And then in the oval, I was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. I was outside of barf. I had somebody behind me, and Mr. Floofy was spinning around all sorts of ways, and I had nowhere to go, and just T-boned him, all good and hard and like.
Yeah, we saw the craziness that was that incident, and it was very unfortunate. I know I'm laughing for the drivers. It's probably not necessarily a laughing matter, but that was one of the pinnacles of what was a very crazy race out at the Brickyard. By the way, thanks to Xbox Live for allowing the name Barf Monkey, because whether it's me saying it or Fear the Fun, it's always a fun name to listen to, right?
Yeah. That's one of the more unique names, we can say that.
Fear, Slow Motion Fire in the pit lane is saying, Fear is delirious. No one was actually running his tune. I don't know what he is talking about.
That's not fair. Just let me have this. He can't even let me have this. I was tortured in the practice lobby today. I was even kicked out of it.
Yeah.
It was my lobby. I got kicked out of it.
Yeah, well.
The master of practice ceremonies got overruled by, Xbox Live disconnecting me. Powerful people who got the lobby after me.
Yeah. Well, I guess you guys will have to just go handle that behind the scenes. Then Fear the Fun. I hope week 3 things will be looking up for you, and looking forward to seeing you out there on the track. Thanks for chatting here today.
Thank you. So I was about to catch these hands. I'll tell you what.
There you go. Slap them around a little bit. That's what I'm saying. By the way, Violent Drummer, and Painter Ted, thank you so much for the follows. Much appreciated, and I know you're following at a time where we're going through the banter segment here of our closing act here in tonight's action, but thank you so much, and look forward to seeing you back for another round of racing here on X Venture. Alrighty, folks, this is where I go ahead and wrap things up in the broadcast. We've got more of the racing action for the next 3 Tuesdays, so yes, plan to be here. 8 p.m. Eastern is when it gets kicked off. If you're unable to join us for the broadcast in its entirety, you know what to do. Head on over to twitch.tv/xventure, XEVENTURE, right where you're at right now, unless you're watching on demand, and that's where you'll find the past broadcast in the video section. Or you can head on over to my YouTube, where I've got all the broadcasts here on X Venture going up there, not only here for the Tuesday broadcast, but then also Fridays and the Sunday broadcast. So if you lose track of anything that's happening here live, that's the place to go. And yes, for everybody who has been watching those videos on demand, I see you in the viewer counts there on Twitch, and then incrementally as we get more viewers on YouTube, I see you out there supporting me, even if it's not live. Thank you so much for that. We've got more Friday action coming at you here. The Car Mechanics Simulator 2018 fun. Find it, fix it, flip it Fridays. It is my final broadcast of Car Mechanics Simulator 2018, at least for now. It'll probably come back at some point, but this is the final the third of 3 broadcast for Car Mechanics Simulator here on Fridays, before I go into a kind of a randomized throw it out there and see if it sticks type game. Not this coming Friday, but the following Friday. Be here this Friday to figure out what that title is going to be. And then also, because I am in this variety type approach where we'll go to a title for 3 straight weeks, and then we'll have, again, one of those toss-up Fridays, and then we'll go into another game for 3 straight weeks. You all will get to pick what that next game is there on Friday. So be here. Have a say in what the content is going to be. I'm not going to tell you what the 2 games that are up for a vote are at this point, but be here on Friday, and you can have your say, whether you're a sub or a follower or not. Either way, you can have an input on what the Friday content is going to be. And then on Sunday, oh, by the way, 6 p.m. Eastern on Friday. 6 p.m., a couple hours earlier than what we do on Tuesdays, and then much earlier, 8 a.m. Eastern time on Sunday. Episode 10, Saddle Up Sunday. Yes, I've completed the main storyline of Red Dead Redemption 2. We've now moved into the epilogue with John Marston, or Jim Miller? Jim Miller, his alias here, as we are out at one of the farms. John is going to be a ranch hand for a little bit while he and Abigail and Jack kind of get up on their feet and do something cool with their lives. That's the best way I can describe it. Hang out with me, 8 a.m. Eastern time. Yeah, doing all kinds of stuff. That's the reason for the name change from Virtual Auto Sports here to XVenture, giving you a variety of content, because really I'm enjoying broadcasting and a variety of content. And yeah, we'll get back into the thick of Forza Motorsport events once the new Forza Motorsport title launches. I do have some plans in the making for that. So those of you who are very excited about all the events that I've hosted, from Mileage Masters to 3050, don't fret. Stuff is coming back eventually once we have the new title. So enjoy the variety content while it lasts, because then we might go into full-on racing mode eventually at some point. By the way, we will come to a head with Red Dead Redemption 2, and that means we'll have to do something else on Sundays. And Sundays really are kind of themed as Storyline Sundays, and we'll continue with that theme beginning on February the 21st, Crime Scene Sundays. And yes, what a cult following this game has had. I mean, this is a title from the early 2000s that I don't think gets enough love, and I'm gonna do my part to revive it, the single-player storyline. L.A. Noire, and the story of Cole Phelps going from military veteran to a police officer and then a detective in the city of Los Angeles. It's a great game. It really, really is. And the mechanics of investigating the scene of the crime, I think, are some of the best investigative type gameplay mechanics that I've seen in any game. And so it's going to be a lot of fun. I don't think it'll be as long as Red Dead Redemption 2. I think L.A. Noire is a little bit shorter in terms of playtime. But either way, going to have a blast with it. That begins February the 21st. Same time as the Red Dead Redemption streams, 8 a.m. Eastern on Sundays. I look forward to seeing you then. That's going to be a blast. And you guys can help me too, by the way. We're going to be there. You guys are going to be able to backseat. Give me your thoughts. I completely have forgotten what that storyline is. I don't remember any of the missions in terms of the right answers to select when you're doing your investigative work. So be there and lend a hand. Help me out. You guys are going to be my sidekicks. Yeah. It's going to be fun. And then one last thing I want to mention here before we close things out tonight is that winter's just getting started. What does that mean? Well, I'm going to have all the information for you a week from tonight. After Forza Spec Racing Series week number 3 has concluded, I've got details on exactly what this means, and it is going to be a special broadcast. This is going to be a unique, one-time, marathon-like broadcast, but it's all really contingent on you all in terms of what that all entails. So get more details 1 week from tonight at the conclusion of week 3, Forza Spec Racing Series. For those of you who can make out what the graphic is there in the wording, kudos to you. You already have kind of an idea as to where we're going game-wise, but then what's the format going to look like? And I think that's something you all are going to be interested and very curious to learn about in a week's time. So next week, more details to come. Okie dokie, folks. Well, I hope you have a great rest of the week. For those of you who are having a short week this week, hopefully it is indeed a short week. Like, hopefully it feels like it. If you did happen to get yesterday off for Martin Luther King Day, maybe now that we've gone through Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday and Friday, we'll go by like a piece of cake. If not, well, maybe we'll see you on Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern, where we can all kind of revel in the fact that it has finally made it to Friday with Car Mechanic Simulator 2018. Even if I don't see you then, have a good rest of the week. Stay happy. Stay healthy. Be careful out there, as particularly here in the States. We're going to go through probably a little bit of a tumultuous time a bit, but we're going to come out of it. We're going to be good, and you can count on XVenture to be here to provide you more content as we move through the months ahead. So have a good one. For those of you who wish to watch the racing action that we just got through, want to watch that back on demand, we're going to have the rerun coming up right after the conclusion of this broadcast. So stay with us, and like I said, hope to see you on Friday for Find It, Fix It, Flip It Friday. Take care. Adios. Goodbye.